Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. What up, what up, what up? We are back, episode 11 of the K&D Exchange. I am KaeDee, alongside my co-host, aficionado. What type of aficionado? Music aficionado and friend, David. What up, David? What's going on?
Yo, KD, lots and lots of life stuff going on. How are you, man?
Stuff. Yeah, man. All right, man. Bit of a whatever day, but you have those from time to time, innit? So
You're
that's
allowed
cool,
them
man.
once in a while.
Once in a while, man. Yeah. So it's all good, man. But yeah, to everyone, I can't believe we're on 11 episodes already. I said this last time, but it feels like we are still in the WhatsApp stage of trying to figure out whether we should get the same mics for symmetry. that's not, we're 10 episodes deep, man. It's too late. Like, yeah. But that's cool, man. For everyone who's sorry, who's still kept up with us, listening, supporting us, following us at K&D Exchange on Instagram and Twitter, and just listening to the episodes and everything like that, and engaging with us. All appreciated, all blessings. For those who are new, quick rundown of what we do. We exchange albums each week to each other that we haven't heard, that the other person heard, and then we discuss why we gave the album and how we felt about each album as well. And it's kind of a way of bridging together two different ideas, the gap between genres, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, apologies for my returning listeners who have to hear that every single time, but you never know. There could be new listeners that just jump in episode 10 like, yeah, let's see what these guys are doing.
Absolutely. That's fine.
Yeah. They might see Big Crit in the title and be like, yeah, okay, I want to hear what these two random people have to say, because I do that sometimes. I see the artist name and I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? I wonder what they're going to say. And then that bases my judgment off of them forever. But yeah, let's just jump right in. We usually go with David's exchange for me. So David, what album did you give to me this week?
I gave you O.S.T. from the hip-hop duo known as People Under the Stairs. This album came out in 2003. Yeah. So tell me, KD. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So tell me, KD, what did you think of this album?
I thought that's a bad way to start, because that really confines me to just say I thought it was good or bad. But yeah, no. People Under the Stairs is kind of they're a group that I've kind of heard about like for a while, but they never seem to be up on the radar enough to like really be like I don't know how you'd feel about this, but for them to be like an essential kind of listen for when you get into hip-hop, or if you're just into hip-hop. But you see them on the list and you're like, yeah, I'll check that out, but they're not necessarily gonna trump like a Big Daddy Kane or a Cool G Rap or something like that if you're trying to do your hip-hop history, I guess. Yeah. It's not their fault. There's artists have, like you keep saying, they have tiers and levels and stuff like that. So I've been wanting to get into these guys, and I think the album that I had put on my list to check out was, they started in 1997, right? I think it was their first album or a different one. I'll try to describe the front cover to you, but I wouldn't be able to. It's quite normal or standard or generic. Like, it's a bit similar to this one, so I wouldn't be able to explain it. But yeah, this album, again, another long one, 20 tracks, an hour and 10 minutes roughly, something like that. One of the members has passed away, right?
Yeah.
Recently. Double K.
Yeah.
which is a shame. But and it's annoying, like when I have an album or an artist that I want to check out passed away, as in like they've just passed away, not like in the past or anything, because then I feel a bit, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel a bit bad only then checking out their music.
I know what you mean.
Because like a member has passed away or because they've passed away. I always feel like now I don't even know why I stand that on that level with that train of thought, because I don't think it's that much of an issue. It's just there is something weird about the idea of so many people suddenly taking interest only when someone dies. I think that's what bothers me, when it's like they were there before, they were on the list before, they were on your list. For me personally, it's like, well, they were on my list. Why did it take for them to die for you to then check them out? And it might be like, well, life just comes, life happens, you know, you can't control that. There's all these other artists on your list, you know. Things might come up that might not involve death, that might just become popular in the news again or something, and you might be like, oh, that guy's on my list, I should go check him out. I guess when it comes to things like death, it's just so like it takes it out of the music and the art, and it's like that's an actual person, and you're like, man, it's feel weird only then giving something attention because of that. So like I tend to not jump on it. If I hear an artist has passed away and it's someone I wanted to check out, try not to jump on it straight away and give it some time and just treat it like naturally. I'll get into it. I won't be biased when I listen to it, like, man, this person just died, damn. Because sometimes that can make you think something's really great. It's not. You kind of just feel some sympathy because the guy's like passed away. I don't know if you feel that.
I do understand what you mean. But I don't necessarily subscribe to your way of thinking, because
Sure.
When I was finding hip hop and my feet in hip hop, you know, I started listening to it really, I think in like 98, 99.
Sure.
Tupac was dead how many years at that point? And he was my gateway into hip hop. So I was already, you know, paying attention to his music and just how influential he was, I guess, because it, you know, his death did exacerbate his cultural impact, I think. But not to take away from what he did while he was alive, he was an absolute machine, and that I guess facilitated a lot of the music that I heard post-death, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, I do know what you mean. It's almost like a guilt thing when you hear, you know, you hear music from an artist who's passed away, and you feel like, well, I didn't give them the time of day when they're alive. So
I think that's what it's more like. Yeah.
It's
so
tough.
With your Tupac example, for me, I would be like, well, yeah, when I got into hip hop, some of the artists had died at that point too. And they kind of, you know, like Biggie or whatever, and you know, they become like legendary status because of their death or whatever. However, I find that a little bit different to what I'm saying now, I guess, because it's like, well, I didn't listen to them because they died. I think that's the I'm talking about. They just happen to be dead.
Yeah, and also, I guess we're talking about OGs of the game. I guess we're talking about, you know, two of the greatest to have ever done it, I guess.
Yeah, you can't really escape them.
Whereas, yeah, because they were so entrenched and embedded in the culture. And I guess that, I suppose that's a bit of a bad example from myself when dealing with these guys, because they were so under the radar. I didn't
very under radar.
Yeah, I didn't hear about these guys until I think 2014 when I met my wife.
Did she introduce you?
Yes, she did. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was really shocked, because I like to think that I've got a decent basis of musical knowledge, not just in hip hop, but in quite a few genres. And I hadn't heard of them, and loads of my friends had, and they would be telling me, David, you haven't heard People Under the Stairs? Like, what's the matter with you? and I I don't know, it was like a secret that passed me by. So yeah,
it's weird. I'm trying to figure out why I know these guys. Like before you gave me the album, I think it might just be that they've just come up on certain lists. Like, because sometimes I'll look for like good underground hip hop albums. Like as I got a bit older, I started to look more for that stuff because I wanted to just branch out a bit more.
There's only so much Drake you can listen to.
Yeah, to it. Well, there is only so much Drake. Speaking of Drake, he dropped a little 3-track EP. Friday.
My mate Chris said, he said to me, like, you got to check them out. They're wicked. And I just never got around to it.
Is this the guy you were talking about in the last episode who was saying that he agreed with everything you said? That's okay. Good. Go listen to that shit then. Scary Hours 2. I'm gonna plug it because
cool.
I was saying I'm waiting for him to like drop something that gets me back on the train. I was a bit like, whatever, man. I don't care. Like when I knew these songs were coming out, I listened to it and I was just like, yes, this it gave me that feeling like I was back at uni. Like when I used to get excited about his music dropping. I had the same feeling. I had it on repeat every day. It's just 3 songs, right? Different kind of vibes in each song. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. Give me an album of this. Just give me an album where you just care, Drake. That's all I care about. Where you sound like you care.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Because this sounded like it. Just these 3 songs. And you know, we were talking about him being. It's like at this point we don't care, right? So even if you do get personal, someone's like, we don't even know you, don't really care. And one of the songs, he's talking about like taking his kid to school and stuff. And the way he talks about it, it's just, I was really into it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, I mean, it's through the lens of someone who's rich and taking their kid to school, and he pulls up with the other SUVs, and you know, he can't really go to the parents' evening without, you know, people kind of googly eyeing him and stuff, and he's just kind of there for his kid or whatever. But he puts in some clever lines and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually found it interesting. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, Drake. All right, we're getting there. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We're getting back on the train. So yeah, man, check it out.
All right. Now that I will check it out, but for the purpose of the listeners, now that you've finished filleting Drake, can we talk about people under the stairs?
Let's not put it that way, because if you're going to put it that way, then I'm just going to take the piss and just talk about each track on that EP individually and why I like it, and then we'll move on to your review. I'll just say my number rating for this. But yeah, no, I'm joking. So it's funny that we're talking about people under the stairs having a low, kind of being under the radar, but they have like so much in their discography, like right up to 2015. I can't remember what I heard, like saw 2016 even, or even later than that. I'm not sure.
I think 2017 was their last one.
God.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? 20-year career basically. Crazy.
Yeah. And when I looked them up, and it said on Wikipedia that they got a lot, they still got quite a bit of acclaim, but it's like from other artists and people who really knew the music, really fell in love with it, but they weren't able to break through into the mainstream. And I kind of get that, and that they're kind of prided on their DIY approach, and I can really feel that listening to this album. It really feels like these 2 guys just made this in their homes and just kind of didn't outsource beats, and they did all the scratching themselves and the beats themselves, and then just recorded it in the same place in their house or something. You know, it has that kind of fun feel to it. Even on the more kind of rap serious tracks, it still sounded kind of fun, you know. And it sounds of its time in a sense. I know it's 2003. This could exist in the 90s. It sounds like.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like the sound is like a bit of a kind of sonic step up or cleaner kind of 90s sound. It's like a little bit of an updated 90s kind of sound. It's not deep in the 90s, but it's like it's like a good blend on here. I mean, it's a long album, so there's quite a bit of range on here, but I do get the fun vibe quite a bit. It hit me more on my second listen. First listen, it kind of blended into the background for me, and I wasn't attaching myself to much except for the song "Hang Loose." That's that groove and that bass line got me the first time as well. and then second time especially. But the second time as a whole is when I did it like the headphone listen, just walking or can't remember what I was doing, and yeah, it really brought me into their vibe. And they're from LA, right? So I think you can somehow get that vibe. I'm not sure what it is.
There's a very sort of sunshiny vibe that I get from it. There's a real flavor of LA. I don't know what it is. There are lots of songs and lots of artists who hail from that part of the world seem to have this sort of sunshiny, carefree kind of vibe, and it really does permeate through the music.
Carefree, that's a good way of putting it. Because have you ever been to LA?
I've never set foot in the States, bro.
Oh,
really? I'd love to. Yeah, listen, I would love to go.
I don't know why. I just assumed that you would have gone. I don't know why. I feel like we might have talked about. Maybe I've made that up.
No, I would love to go. I've got family in like Florida, California. Like,
oh, that might be why I'm thinking, because you might have mentioned that.
Yeah, and you know, my dream is to go to New Orleans. I'd love to go there.
Yeah,
just go and listen to the jazz, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, mate. I went to LA a few years ago, and I remember people being like, "Oh, it's overrated," and yeah, I hated it. I really hated going there. Blah blah blah. And I was like, oh man, we've already booked our flights and everything. Like,
it's a bit late.
Yeah, it's a bit late for that. But we got there and we had to hire out a car. We got an Airbnb, so it felt like we lived there, because we looked it up, and it's not like London where you can get on like trains and buses very easily and things like that. It's not really built like that. Whereas we had to hire out a car. We had this massive car, right? Like, it was so big. Like, I went with my partner, her brother, and his partner, and my brother. And her brother's car was considered big in the UK, right? When we were driving that car that they gave us out in LA, we saw people driving his car, and they looked like little hatchbacks in comparison. Like, this car was massive. It wouldn't fit into parking spaces. I never knew if I was the driver the whole time, right? Didn't know if I was within the lines. Like, just driving, it was so difficult, right? The learning curve was crazy, and we were jet lagged as well. That's a 10-hour flight, right?
Were you driving left-hand drive as well?
Yeah.
Oh, sod that. Nah, mate.
At night as well, to then find the Airbnb, and then people were honking their horns at you, and I'm like, bro, I'm in LA. These people have guns. Like, this is like, this is not like the UK where they'll just like shout at you, or not even that. They'll be polite, but like,
they'll tell you to be on your way.
yeah. Whereas there, it's like, yeah, I was shook, man. But once you got the hang of it, it was cool. But it's weird, like, when we were playing like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and stuff, and their music out there, it made so much sense why they make that kind of music, that flavor you're talking about. I think from being there, every time I hear music from an LA artist, I really, really get it. Like, just from being having gone there once, there's something about it where you think, yeah, if you grew up here, or if you just live here and you made music, you can't help but infuse it, that vibe, that particular vibe that it has, into your music. It's like why Mobb Deep's music sounds so different, because when you go to New York, it's I feel like different experience.
It's colder. It's like a lot more harsh. You know what I mean? Listen, there's something about something about New York rap. It's more clinical. It's dirty. It's dirty. Yeah, there was this old hip hop group. I'm sure they were from New York, called Non-Fiction.
Okay.
And these guys, it was just dirty underground hip hop. Like, they were about maybe about 20 odd years ago now. But yeah, just dirty.
Yeah, so, man, like, it's no surprise why, you know,
it's just grimy.
Like, Dre and Snoop were making completely different music to Nas and Wu-Tang, right? Because I've been to New York and I've been to LA, and you can see, I love both of them. I'm not sure which one I would put up like above which, but I can tell.
Give me the sunshine.
Yeah, I think it depends on your mood. Like, there's something about New York, right, which just always pulls me in. There's a certain vibe about it. LA though, yeah, once you're there and you see the sunshine and you go to Calabasas and you're like, okay, I get why Drake lives here. I get why he talks about why he's just always talking about having a great time, because that's all you get out there. But I get it from this album as well. But this, I get it on a more down, what's the word? Like down to earth kind of thing. Like, it's just two guys. They just live in the neighborhood in LA, in a neighborhood in LA, because LA's fucking massive. And they're just kind of having fun, doing their thing. The sun's out when they're probably writing and recording their songs, so it's no wonder it comes into their thing. I really like the production. I like the album, but overall, I think as a body of work, it's a bit too long. It's a bit too drawn out for me, where even some of the songs are a bit drawn out. So it's like, I'm almost like, okay, has this not ended yet? You know, like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then I'm like, God, fuck, man, I've got 8 more songs left.
Do you know what? Yeah, that was the impression that I always had about this album. It was, you could just cut it at song 17 and that's an impressive body of work. Like, you know, even, do you know what, even you could even cut it a couple of songs before that. There are a couple of lovely songs towards the end. But yeah, I do know what you mean. It was something I found that this album, we did a lot of barbecues in like 2014, 2015. So this would always be on in the background, and this is, you know, pre-kid as well. So, you know,
right.
we didn't have to be easy on the swears, you know, but you know, they would always blend into the background, especially when it was sunny. And so they had their place there. But to listen to it, and, you know, I admitted to you, like, I've only listened to maybe about half the album again. I didn't get the chance to listen to all of it. But I was already at the halfway point, just like thinking, oh my goodness, this is so long. I forgot how long it was.
Tell me about it, because I was actually gonna say, I found it a bit hard to kind of fit this into my just normal routine, just when I'm listening to stuff. And especially since, you know, we're still in kind of this life that we're in, so like the lockdown life. There's not many places, there's not many reasons for me to go out and drive to places and do things where I can have music on just in the background. So this would suit that kind of thing. Like a commute to into the city, for example, would get me through maybe like 3/4 of this album, maybe. And then the walk to wherever I need to go probably get me through the rest. At home, I'm not going to sit there for an hour or so, and it's not sunny barbecue weather yet for me to go outside and, you know, get cooking and just have it on in the background. Because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, actually, this kind of album is like, I can pull out a lot of songs which will definitely go onto the barbecue playlist. Or I could just put this on in the background, you know, maybe skip a couple of songs, but you know, it would get the vibes, right? So I could pull some good songs, and when it did hit. It's weird, like, I get this feeling like there's something about these guys that I do like. It's just, I can kind of understand why they might not have cut into the mainstream like that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, they're just kind of, there's something that wasn't fully, it's not like they needed something more. It depends what their goals were. But for them to get the mainstream success, that could have fit their mold, but for mainstream success, they weren't bringing that extra factor. And maybe they just didn't want to. Maybe the whole DIY at home approach, do it ourselves thing, sometimes doesn't get you there, you know?
I always thought that, I always had the, you know, I came to the party late, right? So about 2014. But I always had this impression that they were happy and content just to make music.
Same. Yeah.
There's just something really authentic about the way they do it.
I think Thes1 or someone said that they shunned, even though they didn't make it into the mainstream like that, they did used to shun the underground rap thing. It was kind of like, we're just making music regardless. If kind of people like it, they like it. you know, as opposed to being like, well, you're in the underground, so you're part of this ilk. And whereas if you're mainstream, you're part of this group, and
Yeah.
people could say all these kinds of things about you, like, oh, but you're mainstream, why aren't your numbers like this, why aren't you touring like this? Whereas if you're just a group that's just making music, you do it for yourself, right? You do it, and whoever enjoys it, you know?
That's it. Yeah, they didn't seem to be chasing like materialistic like endeavors. They didn't need to be sponsored by anyone. They didn't need the backing of you know, anybody. You know, I just think that they were just rappers in the purest form, rappers and producers in the purest form. You know, they just did things their way,
for sure,
and they managed to make a living out of that. And I think that that's that is, you know, one of the best things you can do in life, in, you know, no matter what field, music, living, whatever, writing, journalism, whatever, but you know, you doing it on your terms, your way, and just having enough to get by. Like, it's the perfect I think it's the perfect way of living, really.
I agree, because that kind of approach does attract me more to like checking out some of their other albums and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I could pull stuff from here. I've looked at their other albums in their discography, and I've seen that they have some shorter ones as well, more concise ones. And again, you know, the length, maybe, like, you know, we were talking about with Jill Scott and whatever, could be a product of its time. So it was kind of more normal then. But whereas now, you tend to see with the artists, as their albums go on, they sometimes get a bit more concise or a bit shorter, and it's like because they're adapting to the climate. But
quality control as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're starting out as well, and especially with these guys, if you're just kind of making a lot of tunes together, that's two of you kind of deciding what songs go out and stuff. And
that's
if you're
it.
Just every song you make, you might be like, and especially back then when it's not like streaming where you can just upload it, so you could just split it in half and be like, okay, I'll upload this half and then I'll upload the other half at some other point. You can even schedule it up, right? Which is always weird to me that you can do that. It's just so futuristic, isn't it? It seems like it should be so normal, but when I really deep it, I'm like, wow, there was a point where you'd have to upload a YouTube video when you wanted to upload it, whereas now you can just schedule it and it does everything for you. You're just like, sick, man. It's so useful.
Yeah, definitely.
But back then you would have had to get the CD pressed, the tape pressed, the vinyl pressed, and all that sort of stuff. You might not have known when you were going to then make another product or project, or have enough money to make another album, which you're going to then get pressed however many times, however many copies of each, for you to split the album in half. I only just thought of that now, actually, that maybe that's one of the reasons that there were kind of longer albums, because you didn't want to, like, if you chopped certain songs, it's like, well, when will I get the chance to put them out again? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I think
time goes, you know?
Yeah, I think you've stumbled onto something really, really smart there. I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I think because I'm thinking of it also as from an artist perspective now, right? The kind of ease at which you can just split your projects up and upload stuff, and you don't have to go through anyone really to do it, and you don't have to make physical copies for it to be an actual body of work.
That's true.
So whereas back then it's completely different. You have to take into, you know, the context. It's not just, oh, they just weren't good artists, that's why they didn't have any quality control or anything. No, it's actually, it's other things. It might be the context of the time, you know. you want to fully rinse out the 80 minutes on the CD, you know.
Absolutely right.
It was right. Yeah, there's like a time limit on the CDs. Like you could only have, like when you would burn discs and stuff, like with your songs that you wanted.
Yeah, 80 or 90 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
Think like, oh damn, okay. Oh. Sometimes like I'd make like this. It sounds so weird now, but I'd like burn like songs onto like discs to play them in the car. Yeah. So I didn't want to necessarily play the whole album. I wanted to just play these songs.
Oh mate,
it's so weird.
I've got so many CDs I've burned at like uni. Like they're just sitting in my car because my car's old school and I got a CD player, right?
Damn.
Not like a 5 CD changer or anything like that. No, just one. Okay.
Wow, one.
Listen.
That's fine. Where's your car?
I got my car.
What era is your car from?
About like 1906. But yeah,
changes, yeah.
no, actually, my car is a year younger than this album.
Shit, 2002.
2004, boy.
2004. Wait, when was? Oh,
This
yeah,
album's
younger,
2003.
sorry. I don't know why.
Don't worry about it, man. It's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, so that would be a drawback for me for this album. So if I quickly go through the tracks,
Go for it.
The intro's tight. I like the beginning sample. It's like, you know, what kind of dope are you on? Musical dope, that kind of thing. Where's that from? Do you know where that's from?
No idea.
Okay. Sounds like Marvin Gaye singing in the background. It has that kind of vibe in the music. So
They got a couple of cool, like Motown-y homages throughout this album. Like you can tell that they loved like the big bandiness of, you know, a lot of Motown. You can hear
the big drums and shit.
Big drums, like especially with like double basses as well. You can hear a lot of like soulful violins as well, like just sprinkled throughout the album. So yeah,
for sure.
There's a real Motown element to this album, like the sunshiny Motown. I mean,
the sunshiny one. Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. I bring up the sample because I think I mentioned to you Jake One, the producer. He has an album called White Van Music, and at the beginning, that sample is on that in the beginning track of that album. And all this time, because I listened to it when I was kind of young, I didn't think it was a sample, because that was the first time I'd ever heard that. So I just thought it was something he recorded for the album. So I just thought that guy saying musical dope, I thought that was Jake One. I just thought that was his voice.
Sure. Okay.
So now when I hear this, I'm just like, oh, okay, it's from something else. Okay, so now I kind of want to know where it's from, you know. But yeah, so that was cool. Jappy Jap was cool. I don't know what the sample in that was. I wrote down what's the sample, because I was probably to remind myself to look it up, because I kind of recognized it. I didn't look it up, obviously, but because I'm asking now. Sweet for Beaver Part 1, that's where it really started to pick up for me. Yeah. I really like that one this time. Yeah. Part 2 is nice as well. That's proper like cookout kind of. That's where that vibe starts.
For real.
O.S.T is cool. I wasn't feeling Empty Bottles of Water.
I can see why.
I didn't really like the beat. I thought it was a bit boring. It's a bit whatever. I can't even remember how it goes. Sonically wasn't vibing with it.
Yeah.
Pick back up on the Outrage, the flow and beat, really nice.
Oh yeah,
that's cool. Really hip hop. The really hip hop tracks on here are really nice, like with the bare kind of drums, and just it's still got that fun kind of bounce to it. They just use the groove from the what do you call it, the drum break. Hang Loose, we've already mentioned that, with that heavy groove, heavy beat, and that old school flow, you know. I'm a cool Latin lover, leave a disco king, get the lady screaming, I'm on the scene, you know. I'm in that house with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Like that's that old school thing, like the
it's very much. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. I'm with you.
It's fun, man.
It's so fun. Yeah.
It's just this is a nice kind of bounce, you know. Reminds people that hip hop kind of started with party roots, you know. Like it wasn't all lyrical conscious stuff, you know. So that's not a good enough argument. It's just an artist. Oh, but they ain't got lyrics, bruv. They don't talk about real shit. Neither did the first few rappers, bruv. Come on. Like the first semblance of hip hop didn't even have MCs. It was about the music, about the DJs, about the drum breaks. So don't come in here with that shit. That's relatively new. So
listen, I do understand that. I'm one of those people that I love a lot of substance and context to my content. And I absolutely love it. The thing is, though, I think that in this world, you know, we are so oversubscribed with, you know, like causes and you know, reasons for being, that we're, you know, if you don't stand for something, then you'll fall for anything. You know, we're all so entrapped and entrenched in all of that we've forgotten how to actually enjoy ourselves with music. And this is what I've been trying to break myself away from. Like it was always a struggle for me when I was growing up listening to music, because I would always gravitate to the sort of like more emotionally heavy stuff. the stuff that had a lot of conscious thought put behind it, and then I would dismiss a lot of the party, like the sort of party anthems, because I'm like, it's soulless, it's this, it's that. And then a young man by the name of DMX turned up and just blew my mind. I was like, I love his party stuff. So
yeah, man, yeah, I'm trying to pinpoint when that happened to me as well, because I was kind of like that sometimes, like where it was like, man, these guys, these beats are dead and they're just for the clubs, and they're just not rhyming about March and blah blah blah. Or Wiz Khalifa's it's just all about smoking weed. But then
In the Cut is a absolute banger from Wiz Khalifa, by the way. Sorry,
Wiz Khalifa has bangers, man.
Wow, that was my first.
We the boys. That
was the first song that I heard, and it was like in winter, and it just, I remember In the Cut.
In the Cut. Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, that song. I was just in the warm sunshine of like the Caribbean.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Anyway, sorry.
If you want that warm sunshine vibe, Logic has a song called Indica Badu.
Yeah.
With Wiz Khalifa, and it's like, yeah, that's vibes, man. So much good cookout vibes. I need to make sure that's on my barbecue playlist.
Do you know what? Yeah.
We get a good summer this year.
Listen, it's going to be a good summer this year.
Yeah, man.
Even if I got, yeah. But yeah, sorry. Go on. Go on.
The keys I wrote on Hang Loose. The keys on the hook, they're really nice as well. Don't know what you call them. They're not Rhodes key. They have the kind of keys you'd hear on like a D'Angelo album.
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd call them. They'd be Rhodes kind of keys. They're not jazzy. They're like soulful. They're not like grand pianos. They're like the more muted. I've got something in my head now, but I can't translate it into words. It's just the sound. I
think I follow what you mean.
Yeah,
piano music for the win.
Yeah, I think we had that discussion, right, about utilizing it within hip hop.
Listen,
we talked about Rakim over the jazz pianos and shit.
Yeah, man. Oh, wow.
Good use of piano. Yeah. Good use of keys.
Probably the best use of piano. One of them, anyway.
That one definitely, man. Rakim killed that shit. The Double K Show, that's another great song, very hip hop. Again, I do really like the kind of hip hop stuff on here as well.
Yep.
Tales of Kid Drunkadelic is a nice vibe. It feels very LA, and I don't know if that's because of the Latin vibes in there as well. Because, like I said, when we went to LA, there were certain parts where we were living in. You could have easily have thought you were in Mexico or like Spain or somewhere like
holy moly, right?
Yeah, we would like try and walk around, just have a look at the area and like go find kind of somewhere, and we found like a diner and places like that. But there's just so many like Mexican, Spanish speaking people and just people in general, and a lot of people there who aren't Mexican or aren't Spanish just know the language because it's just part of it, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you forget, like Los Angeles.
Well, that's Spanish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Spanish, right? But you just take it for granted, like Los Angeles, yeah, of course.
Like San Andreas, San Diego, like, yeah, man, it's all.
I think about it.
Yeah, all of that. Well, I saw a map, I'm sure, and like, basically Mexico was meant to really encroach a lot more into the United States of America. But because of like territories and stuff, they beat them down to the border of Texas. But Mexico used to stretch like, so San Andreas, Los Angeles, all that was part of Mexico once upon a time, I think. But yeah,
right, that would make sense because literally I remember the area we were in, and it was very like, you'd almost think you weren't in America. It had American vibes because of like the big buildings and the big what would you call them, retail parks literally just down the road, and just like, not to side note too much, but you could tell it was America as well because it was so hard to eat healthy. Mate, I'm telling you that like it felt like an actual struggle. Like I really appreciated living here, and how if you want to eat healthy here, it feels like you have a good choice and it's doable.
Yeah.
You can go to Tesco, you can go and even eat out every now and then if you want to, and you can still do that. In America, it was like non-stop, the culture of eating out, eating massive portions. And when you eat out, you eat like waffles with butter and ice cream and fried chicken.
Oh my
for
God.
breakfast. Like people were lining up outside of this place called Roscoe's, which was fucking amazing. I think about it like, I hate to admit this, I think about it all the time. Like it was so good, right? In my opinion. And Rick Ross's restaurant, Wingstop.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Wingstop here in London. It's not the same. The one in LA. Oh man, imagine going into a chicken shop in London, right? Like a Lee Royal or whatever, like a chicken cottage, and being able to fully customize kind of what you want, right? Like,
yeah,
it was mad, like, because when I actually got to, when me and my brother pulled up to Wingstop, we ordered online, and you could fully like customize what sauces you want, what everything you want, how much you want, all that sort of shit. There's so many different sauces and stuff, and we get there, it literally looked like a chicken shop, like you would find in the UK. Nothing big, nothing special. It's like, how the fuck? Like, it felt so difficult. I can't even pinpoint why. It just felt so difficult to be able to just eat healthy and look after your body.
You know what? One of my all-time dreams, right? Like I remember, like years and years ago, there was this film called Super Size Me, where a guy like he ate like McDonald's
for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, he ate that for like 30 days or something, and basically by day 12, it was like you're gonna die. So
the depression hits him.
Ever since I saw that though, I've always wanted to, like, because I don't really like McDonald's, but I'd love to go into Burger King and go, give me the biggest drink, give me all the fries and the biggest bacon double cheeseburger. I want to see how far I can get through it. I just want to see it.
There's like the fact that you can supersize your drinks and stuff. I don't think we even have that word in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen it through, pictures and films and stuff. I just got to see it with my own eyes just once.
Yeah, when we ate there and we went and ate out and ate dinner and lunch, and because the culture, even when I went to go see my uncle just a few years before that, I remember him telling me, the culture here is more that you don't always just eat at home, we just ate out so often.
Yeah
it's just crazy. And if you just don't really bother to look for the right places, you'll just eat trash. Like we went to Burger King as well, and yeah, you're right, like everything's just big. You have to adjust and be like, I'll get a medium burger, because
and they're looking at you just like, look at the little girl. Yeah, I mean, look at the girly man, and you're like dude, like, I just want to see tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's all I want to do.
I have one body for the rest of my life. I don't want to clog it up. Like these arteries need to do me well until I'm like fucking 80. Like, I'm not going to do this to myself. Like, it's actually crazy out there. But
anyway, we have digressed.
We have digressed, but it adds slightly to the romanticism of the life that these kind of artists and stuff live, because you're like, they live that life there too. You can kind of get it because of the fun kind of carefree attitude. The sun's out and you feel better, and depending where you are, obviously. And you can't always make that excuse for people in Compton or whatever, right? But the I can understand why it's always like always out and about. You go out and eat, and you just you have that kind of more carefree kind of way of living. The song "Keeping It Alive," I could really relate to what they were saying at the beginning. Like the whole, I think there was I can't remember it fully, but they had like a little. He was talking about having like a back and forth with, or he was having a back and forth with someone about like, yo, I'm making music. What do you mean I need to make a living? It's like, I'm making music. That's what I do for a living. And they're like, you need to get you a real job and blah, blah, blah. You're not doing it with your life. And it's like, I'm making a living. I'm making music. Like, this is what I do. And then I get paid. I do the shows. I sell albums. Like, it kind of hit me because I see this a lot where people are like, yeah, your music thing, that'll be sick if you blow up. I really want you to blow up. But then when they like hear that, I've been writing all day, or I've been just kind of recording and doing this stuff, it's like kind of treated as if you've just been wasting your time. Like, you could have done something else during that time, productive. And it's like, why is that not productive? You want me to blow, but You don't want me to do the thing
to put the work in. You've got
you
to
don't-
hone.
Yeah, I've
Like,
got to practice. I've got to put the work in. I've got
Yeah.
to actually give product to blow and get out in front of people. It's really strange. I don't know what it is. I think it's a subtle kind of subconscious thing that people just treat it as like it's the
get a real job.
hobby. Get a real, inverted commas, a real job.
This is the misconception, like even in like my family and stuff. Like they were always like my parents were encouraging, like, yeah, do music in your spare time, but go and earn that money. And it's like, like I look back and I just feel that maybe just like a little bit more like encouragement or something to actually you know what, man, you've only got like one life.
Yeah,
go for it now while you're young, man. It's fine, the rest will work out. Just something like that. Whereas I think that it's so ingrained in everybody. Oh, you need a job, you need an income, you need this, that, and the other. And absolutely, that is true. That is totally true. But the thing is, there is a happy medium whereby you can make a living off doing music. You just need to invest early enough.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Absolutely,
it's something that I've learned as I've grown up.
I for sure agree with you, man. Because like I think another thing about music as well, which is unfortunate, is not. People will say that's like running your own business, right? Or it's like working a full-time job. It's like, yeah, it can be, but the difference is that I was saying to someone before, where with music, it's not something that I can just pull out of my pocket and show you what I've done so far, if that makes sense, or anything of necessarily worth to you, because I can show you like, oh, these are the songs I've made, and you can be like, oh, that's cool, yeah, that's really cool, but I can't say, yeah, this song earned me this much money for the practically minded people out there who a lot of the time the ones asking these questions, like, okay, but that's your hobby though, isn't it? It's not your real thing because you're not making any money from it. And it's like, look, we have to put in the work in order to get to this point. And unfortunately, there's this like period of time where you're putting in the work and you're doing all the stuff and you're doing shows that don't pay you and all that kind of thing.
You're bleeding money.
Yeah, you're going through that graft, but you then those iceberg pictures where it doesn't show what's underneath the water.
Yeah,
so you have to go up to get to that part. As much as there's stories about people just blowing up overnight, or I just put this one song up on SoundCloud and it just blew, I think sometimes they're leaving out a lot of the story. And
I agree.
There's so much that kind of goes into doing this, and it's unfortunate.
It's like your song blew because of who you blew. So right. Yeah, okay. I hear that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And sometimes it is about like, oh well, you didn't mention that you had this connect. You didn't mention that
That's correct.
You had this whole group of people doing this for you, and that actually you were signed to this independent distribution label, because before you've been putting out mixtape after mixtape after mixtape. It wasn't just the one song.
Oh, and also like your parents have got links to the record label anyway, because they go way back. Like, there are so many different factors of why people like will blow up. It's in any walk of life. It is not what you know, but who you know. And in music, unfortunately, it's such a hard thing to make. It's probably one of the hardest things to make a living out of. For sure. Dude, like, I've played so many gigs, mate. I've been through the ringer, like where I'm basically, you're bleeding money, like on rehearsal space, recording time, like every single week, you're hoping to get like one good gig that will, pay for a month's worth of recording time. So I mean, there's 4 in a band. If we got paid 160 quid, we would be elated.
Yeah, right.
Normally it's like £30 for 4 people, and it's like, well, we had to take the train in, we had to then set up, we then had to mill around, we then ate a meal, and then we've played, and now we're buying drinks, and this night
back home as well.
Then we got so this night has cost me 120 quid, and you're giving me £7.50 for that. So, like, do you know what I mean? It's just,
when you put it like that, it's literally, it makes it so clear. Like, I think this is why it really annoys me, that mentality, because it's like, it's just unfortunate. I can't, you know, I can make a song or a video and it can get a lot of attention, but then it's like, okay, but then once that happens, you're going to then ask me, well, what have you got to follow it up? Or at least not you are going to ask me, but the people in the industry or the people who can actually make things happen for me, who are interested, are going to be like, okay, but what have you got next? And I'll be like, oh, I just focus all my time on this one song or this one video, right? That's why it's always like this continuous kind of creative process. You know, sometimes people will ask, like, you know, should you really be making music? You know, shouldn't you be focusing on trying to get yourself out there? And I'm like, what do you think the music's doing? What do you like? What do you think? You can't be fully business side where it's like just getting yourself out there. Okay, if you get yourself out there, and then people are like, okay, I want it. For me, it's always been like, I could get myself out there through another means, but then I want people to go through the journey I go through when I find an artist. And if I go and look on there like Spotify and they have nothing on there, sometimes they can just kind of start to slip out of my memory, because then I have nothing else to really hold on to. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, there's no music for them, right? Okay, they were cool in that one video, like that little Index guy. Let's say if they were legit, if that was a legit artist, and you were talking about him to me the way that you were talking about him, like he's hilarious and he's really funny. But let's say he was a serious artist and you were really pulled in by his content, but then you went to his like Spotify or something,
and it's dry.
And there's nothing there, or like one song, and you'll be like, oh, but I heard this on your YouTube page. That's cool, but
what's to keep you invested?
Exactly. It's like, what else is there? You know.
The thing is, I think people need to realize that, like, if you're going to make it in music, you have to be talented, I guess, to be able to, consistently put out music that people want. Right. That's the minimum requirement. You kind of have to be very, very business savvy in the way that you approach, especially now that there's this whole added dimension in the 21st century with the social media aspect. You got to have online presence. You got to dress a certain way. You got to, look the part and all of that. And like usually, what used to happen was, because we were watching Bohemian Rhapsody, like it.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Do you know what? Yeah, man.
Man.
Huge Queen fan. I flipping love them, and that's my parents' fault.
Okay.
Oh mate, like as a kid as well. Like first time I heard them was on the Flash Gordon soundtrack. I saw the movie when I was a kid, and it blew my mind. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen, right? But as a kid, I was
expecting you to say that.
I was about 5 years old, and it was just the music, it just pulled me in. Just Queen. Yeah. Oh my goodness, right? But anyway,
one of their albums for an exchange, because I've never heard like a full Queen like project. You know,
have you not?
Well, no, because
do you know what?
Not really ever been around me like that. Yeah.
Cool. Like I absolutely love them. But what I was gonna say is, they had their sound, and they would approach the record label, or that's how it was depicted in the film, and they basically turned around and was like, well, okay, your image is fine, just make more songs like this one or whatever, and they would be given the license to do so. Whereas in this day and age, like, you have to be so savvy, like I almost feel that artists can't really fully be individual, like, if you know what I mean, because there are so many tick boxes that they might need to tick, so many bits of criteria that they need to fall into that allows them to achieve the
very homogenized now.
The blueprint of success, basically. And record labels aren't touching underground people anymore. They're looking at your YouTube hits or your Twitter followers or whatever like that. They're like,
that's your new demo tape, basically.
That's exactly it. And it's not to do with the music, it's to do with the followers. Like, okay, fine, if we can extrapolate your 500,000 followers, we put your song on the radio, we put you on all the on the video channels and stuff, we estimate that you will get 2.5 million listens in your first day. There are computers that actually make that possible. Apparently, in the industry, like, the machines are coming up with the the money, basically. They're just
about that,
they're basically just putting you into an algorithm. Like, everything's algorithms, right?
Fucking hell, man.
If we take this person with X amount of followers, how much can we make from that?
sure.
Magic formula, boom, there you go. And unfortunately, the real artists, the guys that are really different and that should be heard, I guess maybe aren't, or they're
Like Lil Pump.
Yeah. My throat just went really dry there.
Just trying to suppress all the rage.
I don't do
But
rage. But yeah, you've completely thrown me off now, mate.
The artists who really are different, who really put in their kind of work and effort into their craft, unfortunately, they can be kind of snubbed from the algorithm, because of external factors like numbers and followers and all this sort of shit, which doesn't dictate musical quality or creative kind of output and things like that.
Absolutely. But I suppose what I'm talking about in this example is these are the biggest, music companies. So, your Sony BMG, for example, I guess that they do hoover up all the talent and stuff, but the ones that are going to make them the money are going to be given the due care, and those that are still worth their salt and worth exploring for the culture of whatever genre of music, they will fall to the wayside. But with regards to individual record labels and things like that, you do get a lot of different and very, very good stables of music. You just got to know where to look for it.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
That's the thing. And another point also is like sometimes as an artist, you're not just doing these things for those reasons to get like attracted by record labels and things like that. So if someone asks me, well, shouldn't your focus be on trying to get out there, or maybe you should do this or do that? And sometimes I've heard people, like, I don't know if they're joking or not, but they'll say like, oh man, how can we make you go viral, right? As in, like, what kind of stunt can we pull? And I'm like, nah, man, like only if it kind of happens to go that way, then fine. Like people start dancing to a song that I put out, I didn't coordinate that, they just happen to take a certain part of it and it becomes a trend or something, cool, whatever. Obviously I'll bounce on that, but like I wouldn't go in with the intention of making something to try and do that, right? I think a lot of people don't understand sometimes that as an artist as well, is that you just kind of sometimes you just make music for yourself. You make it because it's in you, and you just it's such a corny way of putting it. You know what I'm trying to say, right? It's like
absolutely
you have that drive to just create, and sometimes like when you don't do it for a period of time, it genuinely starts to fuck with your mood. At least for me, like I will start to feel down and out of step and things like that, and I don't need something that I've written or recorded to have purpose, as if like, oh, I'm gonna put this out. Sometimes I just practice, like I'll make a song and I'll be like, yeah, this is cool, it's a bit different, I know how I sound like over that. Okay, I'll listen to it every now. I'll get excited to listen to it again and again, and then it might spark another idea, and then I'll be back in my step because my brain is now moving back in the way it should be, which is through that kind of creative kind of drive. That's when I feel like at my most comfortable, and that's when I feel like really, really just good and in my step, and it affects my other areas of my life. It makes me feel more confident. It makes me feel just more secure in myself. When I step out of it, I've just noticed for the longest time that's what happens. I fall out of step. I lose my confidence a bit. This is just because I haven't written something for a long time. I just haven't exercised that part of my brain. So sometimes it's like, look, you just make music and put out albums and stuff because you're just getting out of your system. Once it's out there, it's not in you anymore. That's what it feels like. It's like this kind of like burden or demon that's like nestling in you, and you just need to express it. You just need to get it out. Once it's out there for them, it's for them. It's not mine anymore. That's my baby. I've just given birth and I've given it out, and that's it. It's gone off into the world. It will do what it does, right? Time to move on. That's how it kind of feels for me. But so I really related to bringing it all back. I related to the beginning of that tune because of what they were saying. It was so kind of potent. But what we were talking about before, about how they'd have to like press CDs and do different things back in that time in order to, and how these guys didn't cut through in the mainstream, it makes me wonder, like, I wonder what it was really, really like for them at this kind of level. Do you get what I mean? You know, like I'm sure that they did like just kind of having their cult following. I do wonder sometimes if they did. I wonder if they did get frustrated every now and then if they weren't seeing the same results as some of their contemporaries, or, you know, people. Because sometimes you hear about artists when they give their interviews, they talk about, you think that they're like really big, like, yo, I heard your song on the radio, I play your songs all the time, your albums all the time. Some old school artists as well. And when they give interviews, they're like, yeah, during that time, my partner would be saying to me, yo, you know, where's the money? You know, like, how are you going to be able to help pay for the house? And I'm like, what? You just dropped like a classic album, or an album that's considered classic now, and you were on tour and you were doing this. And they're like, yeah, but you know, didn't always work like that. You know,
Yeah.
like the time before the release, when I was making that album, when you're making the album, there's no money to be made off of it because it's not gone out yet. It's not become the product yet. You know, you have to put in that time and that sacrifice in making it, and have people around you kind of question, well, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't blow? And I really get it for these guys, because they didn't really cut through like that.
No, they didn't. No.
Yeah. And some of their obstacles are a bit different to the obstacles that artists have now. And, you know, I really wonder how much kind of they had to do for themselves, you know? So I really appreciated that song. Appreciated the sentiment at the beginning, and just the song in general. The dig is cool. I like the topic. I'm not sure if I remember what the topic was. Crate digging. That's what it is. It's in the name. Crate digging. Yeah. I literally conjured up an image in my head of what I would think about when I heard that song. Yeah, it's about crate digging. Yeah, that's why I liked it. Montego Slay. It's a nice vibe. Really good bass on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So
it's
good.
one of my standouts from the.
I thought it would be. I don't know why. I could hear it, and I felt like after doing this for a while now, like 10 episodes, I feel like I can get a gauge now, and especially if you give me the album, I can get a bit of a gauge now. And, I wonder if this is David's like standout tune. You know? And I know that you're a bass player as well, so I know, and the way you talk about it, it's like I can tell that you would like latch on to that particular part, things like that. So yeah, okay, I was correct on that one. The LA song, another one for the barbecue.
Yeah, defo.
That feels like more towards the end of the barbecue, when the sun goes down a little bit. It's a bit more summer evening.
That's it. Yeah, and this is when you start bringing out the big guns, the rum.
Yeah, but like, yeah, those are some nice vibes, man. I can't wait. Ain't Enough, cool hip hop song. The drums on that are nice as well. Acid Raindrops is nice. I've heard that song before. I think that's the
Now that is probably my favorite song on the album. I don't know. I think it's the images that it just conjures up.
Sure,
when the stress burns my brain, just like acid raindrops. Mary Jane, is it the only thing that makes the pain stop?
Yeah.
I let the music heal my soul, body, and mind. I'm just like, yeah. It just speaks to me.
I feel like that has the potential of being one of my standout songs. It just came too late in the track list. So by this point,
doesn't it?
Yeah. But that might make sense if it was the single, because it's already a long album. They might be like, well, people are familiar with this shit anyway.
Yeah.
Put it more towards the end, you know? But for someone like me who's coming in new, but they can't really...
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
The Joyride, that's cool. And the Breakdown, that's a nice vibe. That's a nice kind of vibey kind of way to close out the album. Overall, I think I said it before, it's a good album, and it's got a great album, I think, nestled in there.
Yeah, just separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, man. But the thing is, I don't know. I could probably, if I went back and listened through, I could probably pick out some songs I would take out if I was like their executive producer or something. Then there were certain songs I'd be like, you don't need that necessarily. You don't need that. Save these for like a deluxe or a
EP, man.
Or just an EP.
Couple of months
they might get
later.
Their own shine. Yeah, man. They get their own shine, you know. And they mention the internet on here, right? Because sometimes I keep forgetting that during this time, people did have the internet. Just maybe,
dude, it was
not like it was now, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I think of the internet is very different.
It was archaic.
Yeah. So I just assume it didn't exist, like just in my memory. But
you young people.
It's weird to hear like, do you know what it is? It's weird to hear this kind of hip hop and hear someone use the word internet.
Yeah.
Like You know what I mean? Because you just don't normally hear that, right?
Well, how do you think I got like a music taste?
Yeah.
Napster, dude.
I just didn't think about it. I just sometimes when it comes to like timelines and stuff, and like I remember reading this one article where it showed like how there's certain people in history that were around at the same time as each other, but they're so far apart in terms of the kind of worlds or that they occupied, so that you would never have thought that like 50 Cent rose to fame at the same time that this person was alive and doing this particular historical thing, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because the other person, 50 Cent feels like a modern thing. The other person feels like a kind of old and kind of
18th century. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, you're actually like, I've actually never looked up when that person did that thing or did that or whatever. I just assume because of the way they dress, the way they talk, what you're talking about, it sounds old, right? But then when you put it in context like that, you're like, nah, there's no way that person was living in the same world that In the Club was like the song, right? You mean that person might have heard that or knew who 50 Cent was? That's great. Nah, I refuse to believe it. Right?
50 was massive, man. He was everywhere at that point.
Yeah. But it's interesting when you think of the timelines and you think, as time goes on and on and on, you're like, actually, yeah, of course, it's going to span for longer. Like the digital age is going to occupy more space in history, right? As we look back, because of how much, because time will keep going on, right?
Oh, we've opened Pandora's box as a species, like AI and all that. Boy, you wait till that singularity comes, boy. Wow, scary times.
It is, mate. Like when they're discussing like, can AI replace all the Simpsons actors, and can AI just recreate your favorite music, or like tried to do like a Jay-Z and Biggie AI where it's like gets them to like learn their patterns and then rap over a beat. And I always feel this sigh of relief when someone in the comments writes, yeah, this is nowhere near as advanced as people are making it out to be. This is trash. And I'm like, yes. All right, one for the humans, you know.
Well, listen,
for the robots.
Well, there was that like, to go wildly off topic, but wasn't there like the Google robot and I can't remember, the Microsoft robot? Like they they had these like little, you know, you've seen them, right? They're just a torso and a head that can speak, and then so basically they were brought into the same room, and what they did in like 0.2 seconds was one said hello, and then they started talking in like numbers, commas, like ampersands, all of that stuff. They created their own language in like 2 seconds or something like that, and it was just like the most scary thing ever. Like they perceive stuff so much quicker than like our brains can. Like our brain is, you know, the most complex thing ever, but we can't decipher that. So somebody will
like full access to everything our brain can be doing at one time.
Isn't that boring, man? We got to take like drugs like DMT to like understand
unlock all that,
to unlock all, like there's DMT and what's the other one, like acid and stuff like that.
Like
I've never mushrooms, like I've never, like, I don't have the balls to take any of that stuff. I never have.
I mean, but, I'm quite prone to like just anxiety in certain situations in general. So I'm staying away from that shit, because that's locked up in your head. And there's no way of escaping or like kind of that for me, at least from what I know. I have no real. It's funny. I have no real interest in doing that either. It sounds interesting. But I'm good with people just recounting that type of experience to me. Like, I'm okay with not having to go through it. Like, I'm okay with that. Cool.
I remember a friend of mine. Like, I was really close to trying mushrooms at uni. But then he told me about his. Oh no, I wasn't really close. I was like really interested, because I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind having a hallucinogenic experience. I mean, they're mushrooms. They're natural. But I remember he recounted his first trip on mushrooms, and he said it just sounded like a nightmare. And I was like, "Thank you, mate. I don't need to call Frank. I'm all right." Like,
oh, I remember that.
I was like, "I'm all right. I don't need that then."
I don't need that. Yeah,
just to open up the door.
I remember hearing these stories that like about this guy who took something when he was younger, and he hallucinated and all that sort of shit. But then when he was like older, in his like mid-30s, and he was driving his kids somewhere, he just randomly saw something cross the road. It was like a big elephant or something like that, but it wasn't actually there. It was like a residual kind of that created a hallucination or something. It had this like long-term effect on his brain, and I was like, yeah, nah. I mean, you need to verify. Anytime you hear these kind of stories, you need to verify it, because there could be people that are like on the other side that are like super anti-drugs, and they'll just throw kind of scary shit that sounds plausible,
Agreed.
like that, out as like propaganda to like be anti-drug or whatever. You know, and it's like, okay, cool, I get your intention, but we're not just gonna buy anything you like, into any bullshit you just spew out. But yeah, no. Why did we talk about drugs?
Oh yeah, why do we go down this rabbit hole?
Oh, it was about AI and stuff, and how crazy, like unlocking your brain power.
That was it. And that was because of the internet as well.
The internet, yeah.
And your frame of reference for this music.
Yeah. Because I mean, it is weird. I mean, this music doesn't feel like it exists in the internet age. You know.
I know what you mean.
This doesn't fit sonic wise. You need some trap beats, man. That's when you know you're in the internet age.
Jeez.
You need some unmixed lo-fi shit, which people have claimed as an aesthetic. Sometimes it's nice, but sometimes I'm like, bro, you just don't know how to mix, and now you just claimed it as this is a vibe. Yeah, this is my I don't care vibe. Nah, bro, you just don't know how to mix. Like, it's cool. Like, just admit it. Like, watch some YouTube videos and just learn. Your tune might actually bang, right? Don't be like, it's just a vibe, man. That's why my voice is drowning in autotune, bro. That's why you can't hear my voice. You know,
autotune has its place.
Autotune has its place, yeah, but when it's just slap, this is I hate to go off on another side note, but this is a pet peeve of mine for newer artists, right? I like the fact that yes, people can just make music now in their bedrooms and it's more accessible. Cool, right? You're gonna get people either way who jump on that and just be like, oh, let's just try it for fun. I think that's contributed, unfortunately, in a negative way to this stigma around making music. It's made it even worse, because it's like, well, everyone can do it, right? So now when you do it, you need to really prove that, well, no, I'm seriously on this. I'm not just doing this because anyone can record music on their phone now. I'm not doing it because of that. I'm doing it because I'm into it. You kind of have to really prove that now. It's not a given anymore. But one thing is, like, I have like cousins and stuff who try their hand at like rapping or doing that kind of thing, and every time it's always just slap on some autotune, or oh, if I go into a studio, can they just add autotune to my voice? And I'm like, what? You know, you need something to go into the autotune that's good to begin with, or, you know, a way that manipulates it into sounding good. Like, yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? Like, I remember, so like with T-Pain, you know, he was a huge purveyor of the auto-tune, right? The guy can sing. And people are so surprised when they're like, oh my God, he can really sing. I'm like, yeah, he can. Because you need to put something good in the auto-tune.
Yeah. Exactly. He made that an aesthetic. He gave that kind of
sort of tried to bring it back, didn't he?
Sound. Yeah. And you know, someone like Kanye then took it to a different level, but then unfortunately people have jumped on it and just kind of, you can tell the difference between when Kanye and T-Pain do it and when some of these guys just slap it on. Like they recorded their vocals. Yeah. They're like, oh, slap on the autotune. Because it's not pitched, it's all out of whack, and it's just like, why, bruv? But yeah, that rant aside, I would give this album a purebred hip-hop album. No, I'm just nice DIY. But it's very DIY. I reckon these guys in this current climate would have done something similar, right? It would have just been easier for them, I reckon.
I agree.
But they still, with their mentalities, they would have gone in, and their spirit, you can really feel it in this album. They would have gone in and just been like, yeah, man, let's invest, let's get some mics, let's get some interfaces or whatever, let's just make the shit ourselves. You know, we don't need to hire out studios, right? I can imagine them doing that today just as they did back then. So, you know, the music might have been different, but regardless, it's cool. I would give this, though, because of my length criticism and
yeah, definitely,
these songs kind of blend together a bit for me. There's something not pushing it into like replay value territory where it's like there has to be a barbecue or it has to come up on shuffle. Not like, man, I can't wait to listen to this album again.
Yeah,
doesn't have that vibe for me. I'd give it 6.5 out of 10
Fair
because
play.
there's something in there. There's something in there that's good. It's just it's not really hitting for me like that. Top tracks. Oh, I thought Sweet for Beaver Part 1 would be on here. Sweet for Beaver Part 2 is on here. So I must have preferred that one. The Outrage. The Dig. Hang Loose. That beat, man.
Oh,
That groove.
Yep.
Something else, man. Montego Slay. Those are my top 5. So yeah. People
Oh,
Under the Stairs.
wow.
O.S.T. Original soundtrack, I'm guessing. Because
Yeah. I thought it was official soundtrack. Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
it could be official soundtrack.
Yeah, I think it's official soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just forgot to look it up. Yeah.
So, do you know what? I
All
could
right,
be
cool.
I could be lying, but yeah. All right, man. So, what is the album that
Okay.
you gave to me?
So I've one-upped you because you gave me the Ian Kelly album that one time, and that was the most recent album from our show that had come out this year. But I one-upped you with Ghetts Conflict of Interest, which literally came out last month, I think.
2 weeks ago, I think.
2 weeks ago. Shit, okay.
I think it's
But
about
yeah.
two weeks ago.
Wow. Okay. 2 weeks ago. You know, it's quite soon, but I guess it says something to the way it might have it's hit me, and I've been able to sit with it for that long and have it be come into my list of like, nah, okay, I want to talk about it. I need to give it to David to listen to. So, Ghetts Conflict of Interest. Let's go. I don't know why I said it like that, but let's go.
So I was going to listen to this album on the day it came out, but KaeDee said, I'm going to give it to you on the show. Do not listen. So he delayed it. Yeah, man. I was there.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't have deprived you of that.
Oh, listen, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. What can I say about this album?
Sure.
So I remember.
Only good things, I hope.
No, it's going to be, disparaging and terrible remarks all the way through. Nah,
Ghetts,
man.
don't listen. But yeah.
Yeah.
Sign off
Listen,
now.
I
We have
remember.
the KaeDee exchange. No, I'm joking.
Yep, and we'll be seeing you next week.
Blessings. Peace.
Yeah, man. Like, Ghetts is an artist that I have. I think I feel like I've grown up with. I remember him on. I think it's Lord of the Mics.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember when that was. I remember like him featuring on so many, just like Wretch 3-2 stuff, Scorcher stuff, Biggs' stuff. Like there was a whole clique of these
Scorcher.
guys. Yeah, he makes an appearance on this album, I think, and it's
Does
good
he?
to. Does he? No, wait, hang on. Oh no, I'm thinking Skepta.
Okay.
I think it's Skepta. Anyway, we'll get there.
Skepta's on this album.
Yeah. But yeah, Scorcher was one of my favorites, and JME as well. Like I've always liked that guy.
Yeah, so
He's
good, man.
He's so awesome.
He's sick.
But yeah, like Ghetts is one of those that I sort of veered away from. Like I remember in about 2008, 2009, he started trying to do like club tunes and go down the Dizzy Rascal route, and that's when I sort of divorced my musical taste from him. I was like,
Sure, yeah.
mate, like I've had enough now. But he released an album. I got back on the Ghetts train. I think it was 2017. I think it's called Ghetto Gospel.
Ghetto Gospel 2.
Ghetto Gospel 2. Yeah.
That's 2018. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry
Oh,
about
there
that.
you go.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that album, and I thought that the overall themes, the musicality, and him as an individual, it grown into, he wasn't Ghetts just that grime guy. He was Ghetts the artist, and Ghetto, his alter ego in inverted commas.
Yeah.
But with this album, I think that he's continued his upwards journey, and I think this is a better sounding. He's never sounded better. He's never sounded more grown.
Mhm.
He's never appealed to me
Yeah.
more than this album. I think that he's a really good, really good MC actually. And normally, bro, like for me, what catches me first is the music.
Yeah.
because of this show, I am listening to the lyrics now, like first thing, and you're going to be surprised at how little I'm going to talk about the music. Which,
Oh, okay.
yeah, dude. Like, all right, cool. So I'm going to go through. So first track is "Fine Wine," and this is essentially an admission by Ghetts. He's basically
That's
saying,
old school talking.
yeah, sorry, man. He's basically saying, I'm like fine wine. I'm only going to get better. And I mean, oh my goodness.
That's how you referred to Wretch 321 episode, right?
Yeah. He's incredible. As a wordsmith.
He got better as time, yeah.
Yeah, his diction, everything, like just the way that he comes on the microphone. Every time I hear Wretch 3.2, I'm like, shut up, what you're doing? Like, I could be playing around the garden with, with my son or whatever. I'm just like, that. Shut up your mouth. Listen, listen. Cool, it's finished. Let's go. Yeah, Wretch 3.2 is just one of my, he was called Wretch 32 back then, but.
Oh, okay, yeah. Back when no one knew.
I knew. But yeah, this song, I mean, I love some of the lyrics in there. And like 9 to 5 got me watching The Time. Yeah, you and I know that.
Yeah, mate. On the hour, every hour.
Every minute. In all fairness, like every minute, just like.
I'm being nice, yeah, but every minute.
Yeah.
How many bathroom breaks can we squeeze into that?
Yeah. How many cigarettes can I have, even though I don't really?
I'll take up smoking just for those little 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. Let me just
outside
get out of here. And then there's another lyric as well, which I absolutely loved, which was, let's talk about legacy. I don't care about nostalgia. My best years are ahead of me.
Yes.
Oh my
Kill
goodness.
it, Ghetts.
Yeah.
Come with it, Ghetts.
Tell me. Talk to me more. Like, I'm at this point in the album, I'm in. Okay.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm absolutely in. What he's talking about is he is genuinely like fine wine. He is getting better. He's more compelling. He's really, really honest as well. And the second song is Mozambique, featuring JK and Moonchild Sanelli. It's just atmosphere. Again, that's going to be the one of the motifs of this album. It's just atmosphere, dude.
Yeah, that's good.
It's got a really dreamy kind of feel in this song. It's very, very. It's almost kind of like a dark fairy tale. It's almost like a Tim Burton kind of Alice in Wonderland kind of film.
Yes,
but you're in the coldness of the London streets. It's very, very. It's very atmospheric. It's very cold as well. There's Fire and Brimstone, which I really enjoyed. Track 3. It's about his past life, like simpler times. But also like it's simpler times, but simpler crimes. He wasn't as. I mean, he's been a bad boy, you know.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed Dizzy Rascal's samples throughout the.
That's on that song, right?
Yeah. And I couldn't remember. Was there beef between them? I can't remember if there was.
That's what I kept thinking, but I don't know if I'm just assuming that, because Ghetts always gave me that impression from back in the day that he wasn't someone you would get on with, and that he was a bit of the kind of troubled child. But
he alludes to that.
Oh yeah, because he does mention that, and I'm sitting there feeling bad, like, oh, sorry, I'm sorry, man. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah,
but I remember watching some interviews of his like a few years ago and being like, oh, that's different to what I don't know. I just had this perception of him. It might have been from the Bashi clash that he did when he went crazy at Bashi on their clash, and they're like, it's just lyrics, and he was like, where's Carlos? That kind of thing. And I think I just had this impression, and then add into the fact the way he rapped was just so aggressive and so kind of, his technical ability has not waned. Like back then it was probably on overdrive, but now it's like, he can go a mile a minute and he can slow it down, and he can do all kinds of things with his voice, but his voice is just very sharp, his diction very sharp. You get every single word. He never falls behind the beat or anything like that. The rhymes are on full display. The technicality is incredible, right? Like,
Yeah. He's, you know, like how, I don't know, somebody like Common is like drizzling like warm honey over an apple, right? Like his vocals are just, it's very, very smooth, right? Like Eminem's kind of like, you know, a 45, just bang, 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 you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Ghetts is a machine gun. He's very, it's the way that he attacks every single line and
it's very sharp like that,
very succinct, and it's like every single word. It's the way that he does it, and especially with his sort of like higher vocal register, it kind of just, he's always above the song. It just cuts into your attention. Like he's really good sort of focal point.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, in track 4, Hop Out, I just put, he's just flexing his rapping chops. That's all he's doing. He's just flexing in this, and that's cool. Okay, you're doing a voice to 5'9", flex all you want, bro.
Flex all you want, bro.
And then I
just
just
voice
put
5'9" is a good comparison actually, because now he's a bit of a fine wine kind of thing as well, because he's turned into like the mature kind of grown man rap type thing. But when he wants to flex,
you can flex all you want, mate.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, he's so good at flexing that when he says that, like, I'm one of the greatest, I agree now. I'm not even gonna do, like, I'm letting you do the thinking for me.
Yeah. And you tell me you're the greatest.
That's fine, because now I put him in. He's in my top 10, I think, or is he in my top 10? Yeah, he's in my top 10. You know, I think that would be a really good show as well. Just for future.
Break down our top 10s. Yeah.
Top 10.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do top 12 so I can talk about Doom?
Do you know what?
I had to.
How about top 20?
Ooh, top 15.
Okay, fine. Top 15, but you have to rank your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The rest can be whatever, but the real. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, I'll have to think about that. Fuck me, no. I might not want to do that.
Nah, man, because you got to commit it. You got to commit it.
To the top 10.
Nah, man, you got to commit it to audio. Now, this is your idea. Yeah.
It wasn't my idea. You just inceptioned that into my life as if that's my idea. God, nah, bro.
It's a dream within a dream.
You planted that. Nah, man.
Yeah,
right,
man.
Cool. We'll discuss that.
Yeah, that's separate. Here we go. Track 5, IC3 featuring Skepta. I mean, I just recommend anybody and everybody to listen to this song. It's, you know, I love the way he talks about, I've come from nothing and now I'm a grown man with a little bit of influence. He never overstates. Like, he never overstates his own importance. He just realizes that, hang on a minute, I have a platform now which is a little bit more than the ordinary man does. Like, I'm nothing special. Like, what I like about him is that he never says that he's anything more than what he is.
Yeah,
he recognizes there's like a almost like a meta kind of commentary. You know, we sort of put celebrities and, you know, musicians and stuff on a pedestal, and he's very much one of those, like, I'm actually one of you.
Yeah, right.
I'm just a guy with a tiny bit more influence. That's it, tiny bit. And you know, I don't think that can be understated.
I agree, 100%.
At all. I love the fact that he touches on colorism and racism. You know, the lyric, don't tell me to go back to where I came from while the queen sits there in stolen jewels.
I love that part. Yeah.
And I just think, wow. Just I recommend everybody to, even if you don't like, you know, grime, hip hop, whatever, just listen to a bit of social commentary. I think
this is a good one for people to just listen to, regardless of the music that you're into. You know?
Absolutely. I think Skepta, I mean, his voice is, again, it's just
so much presence, right?
He just takes over the audio, doesn't he? Just fills it so much. He's got, that's the word, Gravitas.
Gravitas.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
He's always had a good voice. I've always been a bit partial to Skepta.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Track 6, Autobiography. I mean, just the little story from his mum at the start, where he's like, you know, he was born to be on stage, and you know, born to be doing this. And it's the way that he talks about music being really cool and personal, and it's here that he admits that, you know, on Channel U is like, my attitude stank, you know. And
he said,
he actually says that, and it's such a grown-up song where he admits fault. You know, I've been to jail,
my
I've done
was shocking and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just brilliant. And I also love the fact that he goes on and speaks about like mental health, like not just mental health, but the health of an individual, your health and your wealth as a person. And I think that's encapsulated in the lyrics. If you don't tell your story, they'll tell it for you. I think that is such an important line. And that's something that that maybe we forget in this day and age. I think that it's really poignant, and it really, really stuck out, because I'm getting this from that guy Ghetts, who used to just battle rap people and get really aggy, and I'm listening to life advice from this guy, and
strange, isn't it? Yeah,
he's on another level of maturity. It's brilliant the way that he's able to succinctly take you on a journey, and also impart he's not overdoing it. It's just little gems, like he's just flicking little gems of wisdom at you every now and again. I mean, oh my God. Good Heart featuring Ada Lee. Yeah, Garage. I just put, it's all right. It's a nice little, it's all right.
Nice kind of summer tune.
Yeah, absolutely. In Dead to Me, I was wondering if the girl at the start was Little Sims. I've just put piano music for the win, and then in capitals, piano music for the win. And then I put, lol, we've all been there. Love is dead to me. When he says that, I was like, yeah, if you've had your heart ripped out of your chest, you know, I hope it does. I don't wish it on anyone, but it will make you into a grown individual. It is the worst thing you can go through, but it is also the best as well. In time, with time, you need, oh my goodness, you need a long time to sit with it, but when you get to the other side truly, and you realize, well, I needed to learn that very, very harsh lesson,
sure,
I will become a stronger human being. And you can tell that with this album, he's gone through some rough stuff, and he's produced this absolute gem of an album so far.
That's a good example of it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't think it was Little Sims at the beginning. Now that you said it, though, it sounds like her.
Yeah, I thought it was. It's only because I was watching Top Boy and I was like, is that her?
I thought it was ZZ Mills. I don't know why I thought it just sounded like her, but I don't know if you know who she is.
ZZ Mills. She does the interviews and stuff, right? At the moment, she's I don't know her from before. I just know her from the interviews. I saw this one harrowing interview she did the other week with a lady who basically was like, she was like a cam girl or something like that. Like she was like an escort, a cam girl. She was living in like Birmingham and stuff. Oh my goodness, it's one of the most harrowing things I've ever heard. But anyway, check it. It's pretty recent, this one.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe ZZ Mills.
I'll check it out.
Maybe Little Sims. Track number 9 is 10,000 Tears, featuring Ed Sheeran. Now, I didn't know it was Ed Sheeran until he started singing and rapping in the song. Right. And I was like, I've just put in inverted commas, like, pukes in my mouth a little bit.
I knew you'd be one of those non-Ed Sheeran.
No. Wait. Shut it before you judge me. You jumped the gun. I said it's commercial AF, but it's not bad. Like, it's not a bad song at all. Like, it's fine. It's okay. It wasn't like offensive or anything like that. And offensive. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I've heard some Ed Sheeran songs where I'm I'm so angry because I just dislike it so much. But in this, I mean, listen, there's no taking away from Ed Sheeran's, ability or anything. The guy can sing.
Yeah.
I think, my wife absolutely cannot stand him, right? And I'm like,
Right.
he's got ability though. He really does.
He does. Yeah, he definitely
He's
does.
really good, like really good singer. I think he's got a fantastic voice. The thing is, he doesn't, like, maybe his personality or maybe a lot of his music just doesn't appeal to me. But I think he works on this song. He's quite buddy with the the MCs and all of that anyway, because he dabbles.
He kind of came up like that, right?
Yeah, he dabbles in that stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He used to do that with his acoustic guitar. It was a unique selling point.
Yeah,
he can do
that
it.
Number 6 collaborations thing, which had like all grime artists across the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all like acoustic kind of minimalistic kind of beats. I remember that shit used to bang back in the day at school. Like it was like, wow, people actually can make music like this. This is sick. It was almost like a kind of cool kind of way of justifying grime to like the white kids at my school. Like,
yeah, I see what you mean.
It became like a bridge, for them to be like, oh, maybe we should take these guys seriously, and it's like, yes, it's not just Eminem and Devlin. Surprise, what's the common denominator? But yeah, apart from that,
an MGK, but maybe that's a bit later.
Oh, fuck that, man. But yeah, no, I know I jumped the gun for the Ed Sheeran thing. I didn't mean it on this song. I meant that I had this suspicion that you would be one of those kind of puke in my mouth anytime Ed Sheeran comes up. But I wanted to actually ask if you were that. I was kind of hoping you were, though, because I've always noticed this with Ed Sheeran, and it's one of those things. He's talking about with Ghetts. Like, I can't believe I'm hearing this life advice from Ghetts now. Like, that's not what I expected when I first heard him. The reverse is kind of true for me for Ed Sheeran, because like I was talking about that collaborations tape that he did with the grime artists and stuff, and it was very weird and interesting and different. I never would have expected that there would come a time in the future that Ed Sheeran was this guy that you just kind of, people just supremely loved, but then this whole other section supremely fucking hated his music. Like, his name, I remember he got dropped like in a lecture one time when people were talking. I can't remember what the lecturer was saying. She was talking she made an example of like, oh, you can't judge me you can't judge a person based on certain things that they hate or whatever like this, or like or dislike. I could easily tell you that I like this, but I dislike Ed Sheeran's music, right? Like, she just dropped it in as an example. And I remember thinking, like, why does this guy always come up in this conversation? Like, me, I can take it or leave it. I don't really care. I don't listen to his music. I don't listen to his albums like that. But it's never, if I hear a song, I'm never bothered that much. But there always seems to be people that like really, really dislike it. And I kind of wanted to know what it is. Like,
do you know what? I don't know if there's a little bit of jealousy, because he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife of music. He can kind of do it all. He's worked with everybody. He's worked with Rick flipping Rubin, for crying out loud, like on an album. Like, he can do whatever he wants. I think that he's just been, and unfortunately what happens in this day and age is that you can be overexposed, and I think people have had enough.
Or maybe
he's been everywhere for so long, and people are bored. We know you can sing, we know you can rap, we know you can do your little funky bits on your little guitar and loop pedal and stuff like that. I think it's just a bit a classic case of overexposure. You're not bringing really anything new to the table. We know what you can do. It's kind of like a used tissue. Like, we've used you, now throw you away. And like, who's the next sort of person on the conveyor belt? But the thing is, like with Ed Sheeran, he's kind of like, I was going to be really mean, but he's got longevity because he's got so much clout with other artists that he can keep on being sort of like recycled and sort of repurposed to fit into different sort of
sure
different genres and things. He's got versatility. He can do it all, to be honest. Apart from I don't know, the flamenco and Spanish guitar, maybe. There's not much he can't do.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I actually, one thing about Ed Sheeran that does actually make me almost puke in my mouth a little bit, right? I've just realized this now, that's a great expression for what I feel for this, is actually when he does do the rap thing.
It's horrible.
And when he doesn't, sometimes it works. And I think when I was younger, that kind of style was new. So I kind of was like, wow, that's so cool. That's so sick. But because you mentioned longevity there, for me personally, when I hear that now, I'm just like, ugh. Nah,
you can accuse him of being a culture vulture in that.
Yeah, to an extent.
But I do think, and I
just think the style as well. I just don't like it now. I just find it really corny. It's kind of like,
but you've grown up. Though that's the thing.
What I mean.
Your tastes have changed.
With me. Yeah, it hasn't grown with me though. But there's other MCs from back then which I can listen to still, right? But when he does his rap thing, it hasn't grown with me. It was new and it was fresh back then.
Yeah.
It hasn't stuck. It's kind of like, oh, I only like that because I was 15 and I was like,
clueless. What do you know at 15?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I used to listen to like.
Apart from me, who was listening to Tupac, but yeah,
oh,
you know,
course, as if I wasn't listening to Tupac as well. But
I'm kidding. You were too busy listening to Ed Sheeran, mate.
Oh, it's true. There was a time when, because everyone at school was fucking in love with Ed Sheeran, man. Like there was always that video of him backstage with Devlin, and he's like freestyling with like while he's tapping his guitar, and people are like, this is the thing. You know, we were talking about one time before about when you have certain artists or certain styles which are like really great for the viral YouTube thing, where someone who's outside of the genre sees it. They're not too they know what rap is, they know what hip hop is, but they don't know it inside out like that. Or just they don't know it deeper enough. So when they see something like that, they're like, wow, guy's using his guitar and he's rapping and he's just talking about a normal day in his life. Wow, that's so interesting. Wow, mind blown. And you're sitting there just like, this is corn bullshit, man. This is not like new territory. You know, to us, it's going to be corny, right? I can't blame the people who like it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not trying to be a snob or anything or say that they can't enjoy it. That's fine. I'm just trying to explain why I think I get that kind of puke in my mouth thing. Because when I see that, I'm just like, ugh. Oh man, it's just so corny. It's so on the nose. It's so like, bleh.
Yeah, there's no nuance to it. It's just basic. Like a lot of Ed Sheeran again is he's commercial. He's as commercial as it gets. He's a commercial money making machine. That's also why I guess you and I don't vibe with him. I wouldn't say that I'm not a person that I don't really have really strong feelings towards him. I don't know.
More fair about it.
Well, the thing is, I can see his ability. Like he has a fantastic voice. Like he just does
really
stuff.
Deny those things.
Yeah,
you can't deny his ability to play instruments and
that's it.
Sing and stuff.
I mean,
whether you like his music is different.
Yeah, and that's the thing. His music doesn't speak to me. I'm like, unfortunately, one of those people that will say, if you want a really good guitar player, you can listen to, I don't know, Thomas Ereck from a band called The Fall of Troy. That guy is an absolute. If I ever gave you a Fall of Troy album, you wouldn't know where to begin. Like it's music that you've never heard of before. Yeah. I'll talk about it, but no, it's you
can guess how I'd feel about the album. How about that?
Especially Fall of Troy's first album, or second album. But yeah, I mean that is crazy. But this is a guitarist who sings and plays, and it's the most insane, complex guitar riffs you've heard, and he's just singing over the top of them like it's nothing. And like Ed Sheeran can do that, he sings, but he's a lot more.
It's a bit more of a shaved down,
plinky plonky, like
kind of version. I think that's a good point. Actually, that's a really I think that's what it is.
There are so many bands which do it. Like I don't know, take Muse for example, like three-piece band, like Matt Bellamy, the lead singer. I mean, my goodness me, he plays like an absolute machine. I'm
learning so much right now because I know Muse, as in I've heard of them. But like I wouldn't have known that I've heard that name before, the main guy.
Oh right, yeah.
But I wouldn't have put them together because that's just not really in my kind of radar, or it's not really in my world.
I was a huge fan of Muse. Like when they were when I was about 16 when they first came out. With Showbiz in 2000, then Origin of Symmetry, the second album in 2002, and then their third album, Absolution, in 2004, I think, or three, I can't remember. My goodness me, those three albums blew me away. Like I used to play bass, and there's a couple of tunes that like, just
straight up on that
bass heaven. And then when I was learning guitar, Muse again. It was like Muse, Rage Against the Machine, the Chili's.
That's pretty cool. That there are staples like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I loved their first album, but then they went off in a direction, and I went off in another one. So
it's fair enough. I think that's what happened with Ed Sheeran as well. For me, at least,
exactly. He was never in my wheelhouse. Like I think I was too old when he came on the scene. Like, Yeah,
you might have been out of that kind of emergence period of his.
Yeah. I remember hearing about him, and I remember thinking, "Oh wow, that guy's got a really good voice." But hey ho, right.
I went through the same journey as you on this song, where I thought first time I was like, "That's cool, whatever." Ed Sheeran, yeah. But then more I listen now, this song gets stuck in my head, like that little vocal sample at the back after his hook.
Yep,
I love it. I don't know what it is about it, but there's something it reminds me of, and it's something I don't know if this makes sense to you. Doesn't sound like something I would hear in an American song.
Oh man, I'm so glad that you brought this up. I was going to bring this up at the end.
Okay.
This was going to be a whole conversation.
Okay, you can. Yeah, you do your thing.
Yeah, cool. That's amazing. Like, well played. The next song is Sonia featuring Emily Sandé, track 10. I've just put again piano music for the win. It's a hell of a lovely intro. The what does that even say?
You're left-handedness, man.
I don't even know what that says, but I've just put another one of my comments was like, it's a very minimal song.
Yeah.
Very low key. Again, I urge people to listen to it because Emily Sandé is another one, right? I think that she is an awesome singer. Her ability is almost unparalleled, right? Like I think she's amazing. I think her music is criminally boring for her amazing voice.
You said this before. Why? Oh, she was on Lowski's album.
That was it. Yeah. I find her individual stuff. I remember hearing Heaven, her first song that came out, and I thought this woman is amazing. And then I've heard like all of the other ones, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't. Yeah. She has the ability to grab my head and just say, listen to me. And I find that her music doesn't do that enough for me. But whenever she features on other people's songs, she's the first thing that I normally pick out. Like, oh my gosh, it's her,
Sure.
But I recommend people to listen to this song. It's what a tale, a cautionary tale. I don't know if this is somebody that he knows or has known or has heard of, or if he's just made it up
or something. This is the song where he's talking about like how he knew this girl, because obviously in the song before there's these three songs are kind of like a story, right? Dead to Me, 10,000 Tears, and then Sonia. And like at the end of, I'm guessing, 10,000 Tears, the voice note saying, or voicemail or whatever saying, how do you think I'm going to feel if you keep on mentioning this girl, Sonia, who was this perfect girl, blah, blah, blah. And then he kind of goes into the backstory of who Sonia is from like because he mentions doing GCSEs and how he went to jail at 15 and stuff like that. Because he says to her, oh, I wrote you saying good luck on your GCSEs. And I don't know whether he's either just changed the name or it's like a amalgamation of different stories or different things that he's gone through and he's just made it one coherent story. It'd be interesting. I
would love to know.
True or not.
I think there's
Ghetts, come on the show.
Please do, mate. I think that there's a lot of nuance in this one. I just didn't know where to stand on it because it felt super personal. This whole album has felt super personal. Proud Family, again, just listen to it.
Good,
piano music for the win. Beautiful. And I've just put it's awesome. My good, what an awesome song. I loved it.
What I really want to say about that song is I had this not argument, but like I had this discussion with I have this uncle, right? Or these uncles, but there's one uncle's very, very outspoken about his views.
We all have one of them.
Yeah, and you know, really intelligent guy. So he's very good at explaining his views. He's very good at. I don't want this to sound rude or anything. I have no real ill will towards him or anything. We get along, and one of our things about how we get along is that we just love to debate each other, because we're almost, sometimes we agree, sometimes we're on, a lot of the time we're on very different ends of kind of the spectrum. But you know, it can easily just click back to us being very normal again, right? There's a good relationship in there, but there's certain things that he I really disagree with him on, and you know, he's quite outspoken on Facebook and stuff about certain things, political things, and you know, he's very good with his words, so he comes off very intelligent as he is, and when he speaks. But he's one of those guys that when you think about it afterwards, you're like, actually, nah, there's some kind of gaps in the argument, or you know, I just wish I kind of thought of that in the moment and I could have expressed it. You know, he has a good memory for statistics and things, but you know that if you just throw out random stats at people, it will sound intelligent, but sometimes there's a deeper story that's not being told through the stats. The stats are just numbers, right? You need context, and during a conversation, you can't always fact check in real time each stat that someone throws at you, right? To make sure that it's correct. So, you know, I usually hate it when people just keep throwing that in there. But, you know, recently he had to come back to my old house to get some stuff. He lives with my grandma lives with him now in Leicester, and he had to come back and get some stuff for her that she'd left in the house. And we ended up having this whole talk about BLM and bringing statues down and stuff. And he's on the other end of the spectrum of the argument for me, right? And we started talking about stuff, and then he started talking about the black community, right? I'm going to try and explain what he was trying to say. So basically, it was like talking about we didn't get to finish the conversation, but I heard the tail end of it, right? Before we got distracted, and we had to continue what we needed to do. And we basically were talking about the BLM thing and stuff like that. And he started making some kind of points. It weren't really points, that kind of lent towards like that it might not necessarily be a system of oppression against black people, but maybe also something that they need to address within their own culture, right? He's not understanding that there's a different type. Sometimes it's like, you know, it's not the same in America as it is in the UK, for example. And then even then there's differences within, you know, what do you unify as like black culture, right? Why do you put everyone in there? Everyone who's black has to now be held accountable for, you know, why is it black on black crime? You know, when black people happen to all live in a particular place, if they're the ones who commit crimes on each other, it's because that neighborhood happens to just be mainly populated by black people. So therefore the criminals are going to be black, just as the school teachers are going to be black, and the scientists, the doctors are going to be black, and all the people not committing crimes are going to be black. But why does the blackness come up as a factor when it's to do with the negative part, right? With the knife crimes, etc. You don't call the kids in Glasgow that will, you know, have like some serious knife crime. You don't talk about their whiteness, right? What's their blackness got to do with it, right? And you know, he starts talking about their, you know, black culture, and you know, black people need to, you know, maybe it's something that they need to address from within. And I'm like, okay, one, what the fuck are you talking about? Two, like, it's funny. I'm thinking, but you know, if I am gonna just, you know, come down to your argument, whoever they are, they have, and you know, you can base it on like culture and music and stuff like that as well. Because at the tail end of his argument, he started saying, you know, that there's almost this kind of like glorification of blah 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 blah. But we didn't get to finish the discussion. And I feel like he was going to lead into this whole thing about, you know, there's some sort of kind of glorification of certain things, like, you know, knife crime and this type of culture and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, okay, who's glorifying this stuff? One, I need to know that.
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to find out.
About all the mums out there that are scared. Yeah, all the mums out there who happen to be black and who have, you know, black children,
because not even
are worried about. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, not like even like when you listen to like young up and coming MCs and stuff, they're not saying that, yeah, I love like shanking people. They're like, it's a bad thing.
That's exactly what I was going to go on.
it's a bad thing. I've seen
This
my
is the
friend
thing, right?
like
This
a
is the
lot of.
thing.
Yeah, go on.
No. You say what you're going to say. It's probably exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, I was just going to say that a lot of music, a lot of brilliant, hard-hitting music, and a lot of underground music comes from our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of MCs, especially people that roll in gangs and stuff like that have seen their friends bleed out and die, or family members bleed out and die in front of them. They're traumatized by it, and yeah, you're going to want revenge and all of that. That's human. Like, we get that. But the thing is, like, the ordinary person won't be able to necessarily, what's the word, like, relate to that.
Sure.
But the thing is, when you relate to it on a personal level, like when any member of your family has passed away, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you want them back. You're angry at the world. You can be angry at God. You can be angry at just the circumstance, right? And
Sure.
in that anger, you will probably want to hurt somebody. Maybe you might want to, I don't know, hurt yourself or something. You might not act on it, but you might feel that way. So
For sure.
while I do understand, I do see little bits of what your uncle's trying to say. I think that's a whole.
That's a whole like.
That is a really big debate because that's something that I've thought on a lot, but I haven't got the smarts to kind of really articulate a good answer. It's something that I'd have to write down and read out.
Yeah. You'd have to like edit it and kind of make sure it's coherent and things like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot that I would like to say in every single sentence.
Say,
but what I was trying to say is that I don't see people glorifying. I listen, we listen to a lot of music, a lot of new stuff. I don't see anybody glorifying it. I think that anybody affected by it who's making music is going to be saying, I've seen my mate die at a really young age. I don't want that. And I'm really angry and I'd love to kill the guy that did it to him. I'm not going to. But,
see, it's okay for someone like Eminem to say that, right? Now,
he made a career out of it.
Yeah, we know why, right? Because it's human. It's so raw. It's this raw human, emotion. That's what they will write about him, right? For some reason, for these young kids, it's to do with their blackness.
Yeah.
Look,
colorism is a hot topic at the moment, especially in the last couple of days, man.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, you see the way they treat Kate and the way they treat Megan?
Listen, so this is whole cynical me, right? But I saw somebody comment on something I saw on Instagram yesterday. Like, one of my cousins put up something, and there was a comment underneath basically saying, a billionaire talking to millionaires about oppression. Do me a favor. And I'm like, you know what? You got a point. It's all distraction tactics. Basically, the UK might be falling apart, but don't worry, there's a race war like going on, with the royal family. Well, hold on a minute. The royal family are inconsequential to your life and my life. Like, I don't understand like the big furore. Like, they want to keep the bloodline pure. And, Meghan Markle saying, oh, there was discussions about the color of my baby. Well, I mean, that's what you get. Like, it's almost like you lay in bed with, like, I don't know, for example, a historical reference, you lie in bed with the Nazis and you're surprised that they start, killing a minority,
Right.
Why are you surprised? Why?
Do
you know what I mean? It shouldn't.
I get it to an extent. It's I think see, that's the whole kind of
that's again a whole other debate, but
because obviously we can talk about the whole billionaires talking to another millionaire about oppression, but it depends how you're viewing it, through what lens. Like,
that's cynical.
A cynical lens or like a human lens of, it doesn't really matter. We're talking about just a person, like a child. Forget all the institutions. Why is this still even a thing? Should we be making
because it's the royal family? They would rather.
But should we allow them to just continue this? Because they are part of our. I'm just saying that's what some people might ask. I personally don't see why everyone gives a fuck. Like, not in general. I mean, just in general, why everyone has even given a fuck about about what the royal family does.
Yeah.
What they kind of, because to me, I've always felt like they're kind of quite, I mean, yeah, they bring in a lot for like tourism and stuff, and they're, I guess, how the rest of the world.
I
looks
don't
at
see
the
any of that
UK.
money, so sod it.
I guess. But I mean, for me, I've never. When I say I don't understand why anyone gives a fuck, I don't mean about the topics, about like, you know, bringing up the idea of what this baby's skin color will be and stuff. Because
It's
look,
horrific.
if you come from like, you know, I'm sure if you come from like Indian backgrounds, and you know, I've heard as well from black backgrounds as well. It's like I shouldn't have said black backgrounds, like, for just because there's a whole variety, right? But like for me specifically, Indian backgrounds, there's a whole colorism issue there where people will ask, not out of interest. I might ask out of interest, like, oh, what do you think that baby's color is going to be if my cousin is with a person who's like very dark or very light? I'm purely asking out of interest. I do not give a shit after that, right? Whereas there's another way of asking the question, which is, what will their skin color be? Almost in a sense of, this will change how I then relate to that child, and how I interact with that child, and how I think that child will then maneuver through life. That's completely different. Now you're making this condition based upon something about like their skin color, which they can't control. So I understand the issue about that, and I understand why people care about that. I think if you just pull all the way out from it, I've always found it hard to connect with stories about the royal family in general, and about who marries who, and Meghan Markle this and Kate Middleton. I just don't give a shit. I give a shit about how they treat them, as in like someone like Meghan Markle compared to Kate Middleton, for example. You know? Yeah,
it's blatant.
Yeah, I care about that. I care about that subject. I just don't care about the royal family. I don't see what this huge deal is about that people are so obsessive about, you know, that we even got this in the first place, you know?
So do you know what, like the other day we were having this debate, me and like my sister and her fella, and like because he's so my sister's partner is he's in the army, and he's from St. Lucia, and like hell of a dude, and we were having this exact conversation. I said I don't get it, and he says, I know people, when I go into their offices, they have pictures of the royal family in there. I'm like, this is so weird. But you're in Her Majesty's Royal Army, right? Or Royal Air Force, or whatever. You know, maybe that's a different. It's a different.
I get it like that, but still, I don't still get it like at my core. Like,
well, the thing is, the royal family lost credibility, like complete credibility, when they didn't cut Andrew off after that flipping interview. Like, how you mean the guy is a complete like pedo? Like, he's an R. Kelly. He's maybe even worse, right? Him, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, all of them, whatever. The fact that they haven't like cast him out and like taking him down the back of the sheds and just put one in his head, like, you're bringing the royal family down. But they would rather comment. You know what I mean? Like, they would rather sort of they have this circus around Meghan Markle. Like, I just think that it's, you know, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway,
see, that's the thing. I care about the fact that they wouldn't, move away from, like, they wouldn't. Suddenly, I only care now at the principle of, why would you not distance yourself from someone like that in your family?
Yeah.
You care about this. In principle, I care about that topic, because that can be applied across the board to people in general. You know, people do that even just on a micro level, right? But sorry, the reason we went into this is because I was talking about we were talking about my uncle, and we had this discussion about black culture, and I feel like he was going to move into, I put those snippets up on Instagram and on Facebook, and on Facebook, when I put them out on Facebook, on the Facebook page, I share them on my normal profile, right? I don't know if you're on Facebook, you probably don't see it, right?
No, so I'm not on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, so I have it on there, and I kind of, anytime when the posts go out, I'll go on my normal account and I'll just share it, and then I'll write something kind of like an additional thing. And I think some of the more recent ones were about people assuming about hip hop and what it is, and
I remember the conversation.
Yeah, so I kind of added on to that a bit, and surprise, my uncle comments on it, and he basically says a whole. I'm not being rude. I'm just saying it how it is to me. He said a whole lot of nothing. It was just more flexing of, look, I can write very good words, but like, I am part of the conversation. No, you're not. You just said a whole lot of nothing. He basically, it's just like, why would you not expect people to think this way about people? Never understand true hip hop. Only people like you who are really into it. I'm like, okay, cool. hasn't added anything to the conversation. That's just
totally disagree.
Yeah, even on that sense, I disagree with you, but you've not really said much. You know, why do you disagree? I'm really interested, actually.
Well, it's just that you don't need to be in something to love something. I mean, okay. The first time I heard the band Korn, it was at the end of a Street Fighter the animated movie, the manga.
Yeah.
Holy, I had no business being 11, 12 years old. I had no business watching that film, for one.
Right.
But I had no business loving the whole context of the way that the song comes in and all of that at the end of the movie. I loved it, and it spoke to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about it, and it's rock music. It's not anything that I'd really been exposed to before.
Sure.
But in that same vein, you might be a person that loves flipping gospel music and country music, for example, and you roll in those kind of nice, wholesome spheres. But you might hear something on the radio, like, I don't know, like a little pump track. Like, no, but do you know what I mean? And it might just speak to you. It might hit you in that moment, or you might be going through something, and then all of a sudden, you just need that song,
something ignorant. Like, you just need something to just party music or something.
Yeah, or even if it's something more deep and meaningful. I mean, I can imagine introducing like "Slippin'" by DMX, for example. Like, if they're really, really down on their luck, and you just say, "Look, I know you're feeling rough, but listen to this," and it might hit them in a certain way that they might not be au fait, or they might not understand like hip hop in its deepest core and roots and stuff.
Yeah,
but I think that music just hits you differently at different points, no matter the genre and no matter your expert level. So
no, exactly. And so this is the thing. It's like, for me, it was like another part of his comment on that is, for me, it's like, anyone can kind of love it. You don't have to be deep into true hip hop. There's no true hip hop. It's just hip hop, right? That's what I'm trying to get at, right? And yet he's already misplaced that in the comment, right? And I'm like, no, don't make it other. This is the thing. You're now making it other. Like, well, see, like, that's true hip hop. This stuff that we hear is all bullshit. It's like, no, it all comes under the same thing.
It's partisanship.
Yeah, just stop overgeneralizing. And this is what he didn't get. What I was trying to say to him was, look, he was like, but people make surface level judgments all the time. Okay, why are you making an excuse for that? What I'm saying is that, as a general rule of thumb, how about you don't talk about something as if you know it in depth if you don't know it in depth, right? Yeah. That's my point, right?
Or just a little bit of humility, maybe, just to say, I don't know everything, but here's my opinion. You're more likely to be a lot more receptive to something like that, right?
Exactly. And this is something I think he needs to understand, but like, as if he'll be listening to this, but like, this ties into the Ghetts song, because we're on Proud Family. Yeah, I do remember, don't worry. This ties into that because one of my points was that the reason that we should identify this kind of almost unconscious bias that comes up when it comes to things like hip hop music, like why we just assume it's aggressive and we assume that it's all about money, drugs, hoes, and blah, 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 is because, unfortunately, people attach this perception of what they think black people are like based on something like hip hop, right? And it's like, that can become dangerous. If your overgeneralization of it is purely towards the negative, you might just not realize that your opinion is then shaped of real, actual people.
Exactly.
You may have no connection to that kind of thing at all. It's like, it's the reason someone will clutch their purse tighter when they see a black.
And I've had it. Yeah, I get all that like unconscious bias crap.
Mate, I'm not. We get like microaggressions, right? Like, I'm not black, right? And I'm maybe on this screen you can see my skin's lighter, but I'm visibly out and about. I don't look white, and I'm generally darker, right? So, sometimes you're right. You come across these microaggressions, and you feel like you have to change how you act in order to show people on the outside, I'm not a bad guy.
Hey there, I'm your friend.
Yeah, you have to talk differently. You have to code switch, and you have to, you have to
put on a different mask.
Yeah, you can't wear your hoodie even if it's raining or if it's cold, because that denotes some form of aggression when you do it.
Yeah, to be honest, dude, like I've let go of trying to be I'm just
now it's like that. Now I don't give a fuck what you
no,
think.
neither do I. Just
like,
you know what, guys, I'm cold and I'm doing me. So if I scare you, that's on you.
I'm cold as fuck. Yeah, that's the thing that I had to realize. If we scare you, that's not my problem. Like, that's your problem.
Yeah,
that's your problem to deconstruct, right? And you know, I think that it ties into what I think my uncle was then talking about, this kind of within Black culture and the glorification and stuff. I think he was going to start talking about things like the culture and the music and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, sorry, but you don't have a good leg to stand on with that, because you clearly are out of the loop, especially if you're still saying that shit. Because I actually thought about this album. This album came up in my head as soon as he said that, because I thought to myself, I've already got something that can trump that. Kano's last 2 albums, I can literally throw them at you. I can throw Wretch's discography, not even just his later stuff, the early stuff too. I can throw that at you. And this is just in the UK, right? Like, come on, man. These guys, the genre is young, the genre is growing, so therefore now we're getting older artists who are now going to talk about this stuff, right? And even to a young man's level, I feel like the younger people's mentality has changed in general across the board, and that has seeped into hip-hop. In the music you hear more positive stuff. People kind of, you hear radio shows and interviews and people saying, yeah, I just want to put more positivity out there. I want to tell my story, but I don't want it to be all negative. And you're like, oh, okay, interesting. Like, you know, the mentality has shifted. Someone like him doesn't really have a right to talk about that because he's not in it.
You've got to understand that music is just, it is made by an individual frame of reference, right?
Yeah.
So it is a reflection of the reality of a person's situation. So a lot of the rap and stuff, it's not glorifying, say, money, hoes and all of that. It's just, these are the influences. These are the things that I've grown up around.
Yeah.
And it's incumbent on that individual to then go move from that sort of like superficial crap into the more meaningful stuff. It's incumbent on that individual. But they 100%. Are a reflection of what they've had to grow up and grow past. Exactly. And also, you need to understand there are socio-economical and political factors, which is why you've got a plethora of how many rappers talking about exactly the same thing, because it's many people are in a bit of trouble. So you need to understand it. You know, you need to understand that it's a systematic thing, and unfortunately, like, so I have a sort of theory. Well, it's not a theory. It's just something that I sort of put together. But I again need to sort of sit and work on it and really like word it well.
Sure.
But it's basically linking like the traumatic scars of slavery into the modern music that we have, because those scars are very, 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 very prevalent. And I think that trauma it's the worst kind of trauma I think a bunch of people could ever really go through. It, geographically, linguistically, in a climatic, like, being taken from the warmth to the cold, like things like that. You know what I mean? I think that it's one of the worst things that could have happened. But it's not only that; it's just that children of slaves and like children of freed slaves, they would say, they would pass on whatever knowledge that they had learned, like, I've learned this in my life, and you need to do this, that, and the other. And that trauma that their forebears before them have passed on to them, that they're passing on, it's diluted a bit because things may be getting a little better. But it's that trauma is still there and it's still prevalent. And I think that that's
so interesting. I think I'm with your line of thinking there, definitely.
I think that in my life, I remember I had the talk when I was about 6 or 7, when it's kind of like when you're black, you get the talk. And basically my mum said to me, so has anybody said anything to you at school? and it's like my friends would be like, I'm vanilla and you're chocolate. Just really
small things. Yeah,
just really small things. It's not aggressive, it's not anything like that. It's just kids noticing stuff now, like, hang on a minute,
they don't know how else to say it, right? They just say,
you know what I mean? Yeah, you're chocolate, and I'm vanilla, or whatever, or I'm snow and you're mud or something. There's nothing really there's nothing really bad. But you know, like even in that example, I'm just like, well, yeah, but snow ends up being on top of the mud, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does.
Motherfucker, yeah, you get to be snow. Just because you're pale doesn't mean you're closer to divinity, motherfucker. Anyway,
even at 6 years old, that's how deep your racism goes. But
yeah, and then I'm like little Black Panther me, like with my beret and stuff. I'm just there, just brewing, you know. But yeah, we had that talk. Basically, that talk was, you know, just because of your skin color, you are going to run into a bunch of crap that it's not even fair on you, you know.
Right.
But it is just the way of the world, unfortunately, and that's pretty much the length and breadth of the talk. And it's almost like my mum passing that on, you know. It's like almost like a little bit of the trauma.
Yeah, 100%
being passed on, and I think that it's prevalent in every single. I think that it's prevalent. There is a deep. I've spoken to so many friends about this as well, and like also like my sister, and she's a doctor of philosophy, so she's pretty smart, right? Yeah, dude.
I did philosophy at uni.
I remember you saying.
Listen, that's how little I remember.
You're a person with a brain, like, and she, you know, she's not like snobby. She's really good, but it's just that, you know, that with regards to trauma, it is something that we unfortunately, like, I think a little bit has been passed on, but also when you look at the overall sphere of where Black people are in society, so in America and also in the UK, I mean, it's different, obviously, but we reflect exactly what we see. So a lot of the music that people would deem as aggressive or not good or whatever, well, actually, it's showing you that your country is fucked.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's a reflection of your kind of the living environments that they're in.
That's it.
And they have to think this way. I don't think that they're waking up like, I'm just going to make some really aggressive music about killing people who look like me just for no reason, because I want to perpetuate that kind of whatever. You know, like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, you know, we talk about hip hop being like a reflection of culture and of the, you know, the state of the times, almost like the real news, right? People used to refer to it like that, like the conscious stuff, and like people like Ice Cube were like really reporting what's actually happening out here, not the whitewash. That's what it is. It's not. I think people mix up glorification with just, this is just my life.
Telling it like it is. Yeah. Yeah.
This is just what it is. I'm not glorifying it. Why are gangster movies and mafia movies, and all that kind of stuff not seen as glorification? Where if anything, like a lot of that stuff kind of makes that stuff seem really cool and attractive, right?
It's almost, like, there's always like, it's sexy to be like in the mafia, like it's kind of cool, right? Yeah.
To do this kind of thing. And there's like some sort of like honor to it and things like that. But for these guys, it's like, nah, man. Nah, why can't you? Have you ever seen any of those elders react videos on YouTube?
Yeah. I like, only though not with music, but with games, like especially with Dead Space.
Interesting. Okay. I can't.
They're like, why would people want to play this? Just like, because it's freaking cool. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's so weird. I can't put myself. I really hope I'm not like that when I'm old, like where I'm doing the next generation equivalent. I don't know what it could be though, but like they do like a reaction to Eminem, and there's two things that I noticed, right? One is that they're just like, oh, they all know who he is. That's one thing. And they all some of them are like, oh, he's just amazing, isn't he? And they're like, you know, listening to like Lose Yourself and Rap God and stuff, and they're like, wow, he's really good at this whole rapping thing, isn't he? He's so good. Yeah, I saw the movie. And then you watch another elders react where they're just listening to like hip hop songs, even from positive, you know, so-called positive artists like J. Cole and Kendrick and them. And it's like, they say one bad word and it's, nah, don't like that.
I know. It's to do with frailty and do you know what it is? It's because it's other. It reflects something ugly that people don't want to look at.
I think that's what it is, because they're always like, why are these rappers so aggressive? You know, why?
Because
can't they
they've
make
grown
nice music?
up in poo, surrounded by poo, no money,
Yeah.
no prospects, nothing. They've only got their love for music and the rage in their chest. That's it.
Why is that so hard to? Yeah. Okay. Bringing it back.
Yeah.
No, go. No, you go.
No. It's fine. We've like.
I think this is a very important conversation that we've had, and I hope people hear it, because
Yeah.
you know, we are into this sort of thing, right? We are into the music, and we kind of we don't just listen to the music. We, like you said in the very first episode, we emote to it in a certain way. You know, we live with it. This informs a part of our life, and you know, it's something that we even understand. Like, we know about the artists even outside of just the songs that they have. We understand the kind of their backgrounds. You know, we know their stories. We listen to the full albums and the ideas that they're trying to get across. We understand the context. We get all of that stuff, right? So, you know, it's why in one breath we're talking about Common, in the other breath we'll talk about, I don't know, DMX, right? And then in another breath we're talking about Eminem, and then in the other breath we're then talking about fucking whoever else, like super aggressive or whoever. I can't think off the top of my head, but you know,
Danny Brown. That's
Danny
aggressive.
Brown. Right? That's aggressive as fuck. But you know,
Or MOP. Oh,
MOP.
Super aggressive.
Yeah, that's a good example. And Busta Rhymes, people like that, right? Now it's because there's this breadth of kind of
Feeling.
music and art and feeling, just as there are with human beings in general.
Yeah.
So, you know, us talking about this, I think, is important, and it dials back into, you know, I really hope Ghetts listens to this if he ever does, because I think he would appreciate the fact that a song like this would have sparked that entire conversation.
Oh man, we've been going for a long time just on this one. Like, but it's a really, really good it's a really good conversation starter. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, because Proud Family especially.
Well, yeah, I think that this whole album speaks to so many different social issues, but also those social issues were prevalent in Low-Ski's album that we did earlier on. You know, I mean, I think he's got like a really amazing album in him somewhere along the line. I think that he's got the potential to really just
life and growth, right? And then he'll kind of get
man, needs to get some hairs on his chest, man, and start drinking a bit more rum. Like, it'll be absolutely.
What is it with you and the rum, man?
Listen, rum is not only like a quintessentially David Reno drink, but rum is the only drink that when you drink it, it makes you a pirate.
Okay, fair enough.
Name me another drink that makes you a pirate.
I don't have an answer for you, David.
Exactly. You just leave me on my little island. It's cool. I say that to my wife, and she's like, "I don't know why I married an idiot."
Yeah, I can't. I need to trace back my steps.
Oh man, but no, it's like rum is a huge thing, like in like my family as well,
Sure.
And especially what we do in Carriacou, the little island where my family are from.
I see, right?
Yeah, we have this overproof rum called Jack Iron, and we use it to get drunk, but it's also used as a sort of ceremonial thing. So you like pour a little bit of liquor for your fallen homie, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we use it for different things.
Sure.
You know, if you're trying to say, for example, like my mum's just built a house in the Caribbean, and she's to toast, you know, good fortune and stuff. Like, she had my grandma a little bit of rum on the floor, thank the ancestors, thank God, like, you know. So it's very, very sort of ingrained.
Okay, that's cool.
But anyway, sorry. Right, where are we, bro?
Proud Family.
Right, Skengman featuring Storms. Jeez,
banger.
Well, again, so the word is atmospheric. I mean, it's just I put raw, atmospheric, and moody, and then and then I put in capitals ghetto. Hello, old friend. So he makes an appearance, especially when he starts like machine gunning his lyrics. You know,
Oh,
you can
yeah.
tell when Ghetts is on a track. It's the way that he will rap. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a terrible impression,
I've been
but
skirting up the A10. Like he does that kind of thing, right? You know,
yeah, it's
I got
very
caught with a body in A10. Then they found me skirting up the M way on the A10. Like it's just that kind of thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I can't remember what that bar's from, but I was like, sick.
he's awesome. No Mercy featuring Passalio, and
Yeah, he's a new guy.
yeah, I hadn't heard of him before. Like
Yeah, that's
Passalio.
That's my family. No,
Yeah,
come
I have.
around. My family. That's his tune. Yeah.
Boom. I mean, I'm guessing with a name like that, Passalio, like that is patois. That's got to be right because it's kind of French. But
I actually kind of wondered how to say it. Every time I hear people say it, they don't know how to say it.
well,
So maybe I should watch the interview.
oh, actually, IEU is Salieu, I'd imagine, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like my name is AUD, you get O, so
Sure,
Salieu, Salieu, Salieu. I don't know. Hello, Passalio. Oh, oui, oui.
That makes sense. Imagine you rap like that. That'd be sick.
I'm a French man. I have a terrible plan.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow. Those last will be his ad libs.
Can you imagine? Oui, oui, monsieur. Anyway, so I said it's probably the song that I like least on the album. It's not to
Okay.
say that I don't like it. It's just not grabbed me as much. But I think that because it's been thematically quite heavy so far, like on the last, like 4 or 5 tracks, it's been like quite heavy on the old emotionals. Like I think you need
definitely,
this
yeah.
string to sort of like pick you up. So which
Yeah.
is why I like it. I think that I need to listen to it in a maybe again
Setting,
like
right?
yeah, maybe I need to be putting like this on a barbecue like playlist or something like that, you know,
Interesting.
just to lighten up the mood a little bit and
Sure.
get me going a bit.
Fucking mercy. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah.
Oh, Crud featuring Gigs.
Right.
Haven't listened to Gigs in a minute, so it was nice to revisit.
Gigs been
And-
killing shit, man.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it a long time. I just so I just put Ronsil does exactly what it says on the tin.
He always use that analogy.
It's Ronsil, boy. Good tune. Really, really liked it. And then there was Squeeze featuring Mira May, and I was like, this is so moody.
Yeah,
Like, the lyric that I think listen to this lyric. I find it hard to reflect. Like the mirrors all dirty. I don't know anyone as well as I thought I did. Oh my goodness. And the mirrors all dirty. You don't know who you are as well.
Yeah. There's levels to this shit, man.
Holy moly. Like you go on a journey. Like it gets like we're getting in your head a little bit. Like and this is I think this is something that speaks to people on a human level as well.
Sure.
Because I think unfortunately as you sort of get older you lose a hell of a lot of friends, like people that you thought were your day ones, and people that like even if it's like family members and stuff that like stabbed you in the back for various reasons, like whoever, but you lose people along the journey, and that's something, and you lose yourself as well. And coming back to an earlier comment that you said as well, when you don't do your music or you don't create, you feel lost, and you lost, but you get sort of out of your head, and also you lose confidence. I can empathize with what Ghetts saying and what you're saying on such a level, because the whole losing confidence thing happened to me as soon as. That's a whole other like story, but as a musician and as somebody that's always been creating for over a decade,
it's
when
like that's your identity, innit? Like
when I didn't have it,
yeah, it's kind of like you're all gone, right? Like that. Yeah, it's just like how it might feel.
Yeah, dude, it was like I don't know who I am anymore. Like if I've got 30 more years of working jobs that I don't really care about, like I might as well. Like
shit, mate. I can completely empathize. I've said that to my partner before. She hates it, but sometimes I have said to her, like, look, sometimes if I feel like if I'm not doing this, like, what's the point of me being alive? And it might sound like really like over what's the word? Like an over exaggeration, but
it's your life though.
It's your it's like it feels like this is my lifeline. This is my kind of thing that grounds me, and it is me. So once, if that goes, if I get rid of that, it's kind of like, well, what am I doing? I'm just floating along the sea now. You know, that's
Dude.
what it felt like.
Dude,
You know?
yeah, that is a whole other conversation. I think that's a podcast on its
In
own.
itself.
Like, yeah.
for
And
sure.
then, right, last track. I'm not going to be very long on it. Little Bo Peep featuring Dave Hamza and Wretch, 32. What a closer. What a way to end the album. Boy, just listen to it. I mean, I've got, when it comes to trying to pick 5 songs out of this, I've got 8. So I'm really, so I love Fine Wine.
Yep.
I love Mozambique. I see 3.
Yep.
And that's 3 out of the first 5. Shit.
Yeah, and that's
Autobiography is amazing.
Yep.
Dead to Me is amazing. Sonia.
Yep.
Sonia
That's
will
a
have to
story.
be on there.
Interesting.
Oh no. No.
What about Skengman with those choirs at the end? Skengman. I don't know what it is about when grime incorporates like choirs and stuff and like big orchestral things. It weirdly works so well.
Listen, you can put choir and orchestra to anything and it will make it better. Honestly, put it to drum and bass.
I think you said it before,
Put it to like flipping reggae. It doesn't matter. It will be better. Especially when you got a gospel choir.
Oh yeah.
They got
when
soul.
they do those skeng parts, like that gets me gassed. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, mate. Little Bo Peep and Sonia. There you go. Boom. And
okay.
Yeah, I know.
No, but I understand. I mean, that's a difficult kind of
because I could have put
list to whittle down.
I mean, I could have put Autobiography. I mean, that should have been on there really, but fuck it. No one's really pays attention. If they're still listening to this at this point, like, geez, like, well played.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of 10, what would I give it? What would I give it? What would I give it? I'll give this an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. What's stopping it from being like classic? Actually, did I connect with it as much as Kofi Stone? See, yeah, Kofi Stone is the benchmark. That album, and still to this day, like I connect with that album on a much deeper level. But I think that this album, Kofi Stone, yeah, this album.
What did you give Kofi again?
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, no, this is a solid 8 out of 10.
Sure.
This album, it shows growth. It shows, it shows real maturity, and it really lets you into his head. I think that Ghetts is a very, very complex individual. Actually, I think there's a lot that's gone on, a lot of growth that he's had, and I'd love to sit in a room and I would just say to him, tell your story, bro. Like, we can split this over loads and loads of episodes, man. Just tell us, just tell us your story. And like,
I'd love to chop it up with Ghetts, man.
Yeah, because I think that he just seems like one of us.
I feel,
Do you know what I mean?
Somebody, guy, if we're all sitting there, he's just this guy who you could all hang and chill with and talk to, but he's just got this kind of. It's only when you unlock him. So when you ask him, suddenly this wealth of kind of stories and insight and wisdom will come out, and the fact that he can spit like amazingly well, and like what you said before, he has just a bit more influence than you, right? But if he was sitting there in a room just chilling, you'd probably be like, this is a cool guy. Yeah, we'll chop it up, we'll talk, we'll kick it.
That's it.
It's only until you unlock those parts, you're like, if you ask the questions in that kind of direction, then it's like, oh shit, like that's you, like you're that guy. Do you know what I mean? And that's cool. I really rate that. That's the feeling I get from listening to this. Ghetts needs more flowers, man. He needs more shine, more respect. I think he is well respected, but he needs more.
No, he doesn't need more. He needs all. All the respect. Yeah, this album is brilliant. And I barely even spoke about the music.
Yeah, but I mean, listen to the conversations it sparked.
Oh
Right.
my goodness.
The music speaks for itself.
I agree. It is quite minimalist as well. Like in
Yep.
a lot of the songs, from what I remember, a lot of it's just really, again, it's kind of like the Drake thing where you
Like
kind of
atmospheric beats.
yeah, and it's so roomy, and you
Yeah.
kind of you can fill it with your
Yes.
thoughts and stuff. It's just
That's
it's amazing. It's like
Mhm.
as I said, it's like that Inception thing where
Yeah.
like they construct the building or whatever, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy's
And then he
brain
feels it.
populates it with the people.
That's a great
and-
way of putting it, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
He actually
brilliant.
said that one of his fears about this album was that people would just kind of skip around and see some of the features and just go to those songs, etc., etc. But because he really built this to be like a solid body of work that you listen to from beginning to end. And I can really tell it's not just a collection of songs. It's
Album
like-
craft.
definitely the album craft. We talk about it a lot on here because we it is really important to us. But you can tell because even some of the singles that he dropped before, they're different on this album. Like they
Yeah.
have certain like intros in them and people talking, and they tie in from the song before and then to the next song. It's all well placed, all well put together. Yeah, hats off to Ghetts, man, for this.
Yeah, definitely. What a top
Yeah,
album.
definitely.
This is awesome. And the thing is as well, man, like if we revisit these scores in like a year or two's time, I'm
Yep.
sure this goes up. I think this album is like, wait a minute, like the first track. It will be like fine wine. It will age really well. I think the production is top
Yeah,
drawer on it.
production's very, very, very good. Very
And
sonically pleasing as well.
Yeah, I think that it will age like fine wine. I think it will get better with time. So yeah, man. So
sure, man.
shall we do our exchanges?
For sure. Also, I want a Kano and Ghetts joint album.
Oh my
Like,
goodness,
I need that in my life.
Kano is so good. I just think he's got such an amazing flow.
Kano's fucking top tier, man. Even just
Yeah,
his
he's just so good.
so
he's awesome. But anyway, good old Kane. But yeah.
Also, I mentioned something earlier. Maybe we might have to leave it for the next episode, but I said something earlier about how on the Ed Sheeran song, that vocal sample didn't sound like it could be on an American song. And you said to hold that
Oh
thought,
my
ties into
god.
something.
Yeah, so it was something that I was thinking about. Oh man, we'll be here for
Is that
this.
is that a big
I think it will be a big thing. It will tie
we can save
into it will tie into
okay, we'll
a
save
lot of
that.
things. Yeah, we'll have to save it. It's basically
save that.
the difference between UK and US hip hop.
Exactly.
And
Like,
I have a couple of ideas on why there's such a sort of disparity or difference. But anyway,
sure.
yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, we that's even its own topic in its own right. So we can definitely put that down as its own kind of thing. All right. So we'll do exchanges. That was one of my favorite episodes, by the way. Like just how we talked about a lot of the stuff that we talked about.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. And I think one of our more important ones as well. But
Agreed.
Okay. Exchanges for next week. My exchange, I know what I want to give you, but I'm not sure how. Like, I want to give you, I think I asked you if you'd heard every Eminem album, but you said that you hadn't heard the most recent one.
Yeah, I haven't heard Music to Be Murdered By.
Music to Be Murdered By. Now I want to give you that album. On streaming platforms though, there's a side A and there's a side B, right? Side B, which he dropped. He dropped Music to Be Murdered By January last year. And then he dropped Music to Be Murdered By side B December or November last year. But they're packaged together like a deluxe. So I don't want you to go and listen to it and look and think, the fuck, he's giving me a 33 song album.
36.
Yeah, 36 song. That's not the album I'm giving you. Look for the one with the red cover. I mean, that one's kind of long, like 20 tracks, but it's obviously not as long as. Basically, the side B almost feels like its own album. Like you could treat it as its own separate 16-track album. You can listen to that as well if you want. Because
Godzilla on that one.
Godzilla is on the first one.
Godzilla.
I don't know which one to give you though. Part of me was debating: do I give you the first one or do I give you side B?
No, don't give me side B. Give me the first one.
Do the first one, okay? Because they're both interesting in their own right. In the way I want to talk about.
Well, we can tell you what. Give me this one, and then like further on down the line, you can give me side B.
Sure. Okay. We'll see if side B fits into the schedule. Okay. So
I love how I'm just like bullying you as I'm downloading it now.
Almost once every episode, you end up changing my mind, and I thought this time we've got to the end of the episode and we'll be good. And you've changed my mind almost slightly again. But yeah, so Music to Be Murdered by First Side. So the original album.
Brilliant.
So you don't have to listen to all 36 songs in one sitting. I wouldn't put you through that.
Yeah, please don't. I mean, I've got 99 problems, and Eminem ain't one.
Oh yeah, so. Eminem shouldn't be one. All right, so yeah, that's my exchange for you for next week.
Sweet. I am gonna give you. Oh boy. You know, I had some on a list, but have you heard Robert Glasper's album called Black Radio?
Yes.
God damn it.
Sorry, mate.
Shit. I don't know what to get. Oh.
Wait, let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure I have. Oh no, I haven't.
Have you not?
I got that mixed up with something else.
Listen to that. There's a song with Mos Def that I think you will enjoy.
Okay. Sick. Okay, I'm gonna add that now. Yeah, I got it mixed up with shit. What's the other one? He's an EP called Black Radio Recovered, and it was like a remix EP.
Yeah.
It with. I thought that was Black Radio, but yeah. Cool. All right. About that. Oh, shit. Cool.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm gonna outro this because we've been going a long time.
We've been going a long time. I hope everyone's stuck with us.
Yeah, for real. And hopefully you learned a little bit of where we both stand on some issues, really. You know, happy to discuss. I can't wait to discuss like more in depth. I need to really like order my thoughts and stuff on important
kind of thing.
Yeah, because I was you're flying by the seat of your pants, aren't you? In a lot of this, so need to prep next time.
Don't take this as like an academically kind of thought out podcast. Like we even when it comes to hip hop or just music, like we are just going off the cuff here. Like we're not fact checking stuff as we look.
But check this out: we are professionals.
We are fucking professionals there.
We are just unlicensed.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, that's exactly what it is. We're just unlicensed professionals. So, you know, we have the disclaimer. We don't substitute medical advice, or in this case, academic advice.
Definitely not. We're just two people that tell you how we feel. That's it. It's kind of like, you know, this podcast is very much the audio way of, you know, artists releasing music, right? Like we talk about it, then we try and break things down, whereas they just go and make beautiful and amazing music, which lends itself to be deciphered. And this is just our take.
For sure.
That's it.
100%. Couldn't say it any better.
Amazing. All right. Before we go, though, I have a shameless little plug. If I can borrow you for 1 minute. Basically, my cousin is in a band called Sunday in the Suburbs. And these guys have released a tune called When You're Near. It's a nice little UK ditty, these little awesome foursome. I don't mean to be, you know, disparaging like at all. I'm just so proud of my cousin, like doing what he wants to do. So I just thought I'd give him a little shout out.
We can relate to that.
Yeah, for real. And like I'll throw up a couple of things on Twitter and maybe on Insta as well. I'll put a little link to their music, but I think they're really, really good, and I think they can grow.
Sick.
Yeah, so shout out to you, Nat, and good luck. Like, we're all behind you. And yeah, that closes the KaeDee Exchange episode 11. It has been
bang,
titanic.
Yeah, man.
It has been huge, and you know, we are now getting to that point where we're fatigued and tired. We just go straight through, man. No breaks, stamina free.
We just do this, man.
We just do it because
Yeah,
we love
do
it.
this, man.
If you are still with us, honestly, thank you from the bottom of our little hearts. We really do appreciate you. Hopefully, look, man. Hopefully, we'll catch you on the social medias and stuff like that, and also the next episode. So we'll say goodbye for now.
Do.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
Cool.
Man. We are the Griselda of podcast. No, we're not. Okay. All right. Peace.
Peace.
I've been waiting.